To Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying this wonderful snowy day. It's a little bit cool outside. It's a little bit, listen, I don't complain about the snow. And I'm going to tell you why I don't complain about the snow. I don't complain about the snow because we did not have a white Christmas, and that made me super sad. So the fact that we have snow now, that there's a little bit, I don't like the ice, right? That's what I don't like. I don't like going outside last night, and I had to go somewhere, right? I was going out to the dome, and so I go out, and I'm wearing my sneakers. I'm like, I know there's some snow on the ground, but I'm wearing my sneakers. I'm going to the game. I want to look nice. I like my sneakers, and I do this when I go to LeMoyne. I'm always putting on the kicks, and I looked outside, and I was like, okay, whatever. There's some snow. And then I go and it's that like slushy, icy, snowy stuff that starts to solidify together. So, needless to say, I had to be very careful yesterday as the ice skating rink was forming around me. So I was fine. I made it. By the way, we should probably, with all the money that we spend on New York taxes, instead of giving that money to New York City, we should probably go to the parking lots and fill all the potholes that form small pools when it snows and rains. But that's just my thought about taking care of Syracuse and not taking care of New York City, because if it's my tax money, I would prefer that it stays here. So, maybe that's the annoying moment of the week in a couple days. We'll see. But New York City, all I have to say to you is you spend a lot of our money, you never give it back. So it's not that I don't love you. It's that you're kind of like that person that only calls up Uncle Dan when you need $10. Inside of ModPawsPopcorn.com is what's popping. We're going to start the show off with the Dolphin Dive, diving into the story of the men's and women's tennis team with men's and women's tennis head coach of LeMoyne College, Jeff Lonczak. We'll also talk about the NFL playoffs and his Chicago Bears. Then we'll get into hour number 2 with my buddy Ross Turetsky, fellow broadcaster and writer, who will join me to speak on the NFL playoffs further, as well as coaching changes in college and the NFL, his Jets, and the Buffalo Bills debacle, and where are the Bills right now. So a lot of great stuff coming up here on the show. I heard you laughing, Jeff. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I live the same life as you. I refuse to wear boots because I'm constantly on hard surfaces, and then I inevitably step in that pool of the large pool in the parking lot where I'm at, and then it's like Yeah.
And I think, is it fair to say though that maybe we should keep our tax money in this part of New York?
Let's fill those potholes in, man, for sure. Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So, like I said, nothing against you, New Jack City. Nothing against you at all. Just would prefer that maybe y'all stop spending all the money and we get to spend a little bit of the money, because, it would just be nice to keep it in I don't care if on like 43rd Street, they're like, wow, we repaired that gargoyle on 43rd Street. Cool. That's awesome. Like, our highway needs some help here. People keep hitting that dang bridge. By the way, Jeff, why is that bridge there? Why is the bridge there on Onondaga Lake Parkway? The bridge goes to nothing. There's nothing happening at the bridge. There's water, and then there's a bridge, and then Onondaga Lake. Why is the bridge there, and why don't we just take it out? Can we just take it out, since people are trying to take it out? 18-wheelers just can't seem to stop themselves from going, oh, we're 13 feet, and this is a 10-foot bridge, and I think we'll make it. So, why did you ever wonder when you drive under it, like, why that actual bridge is there?
Yeah, things that make you go home, I guess. I don't know. Crazy stuff.
I love it. I love it. I'm going off today, and Jeff's taking the political route. Oh yeah, a little bit interesting, Dan. That's strange that taxes are like that. I'm gonna not say a word. So, but I mean, am I saying anything wrong? No.
Oh, you're spot on, my friend. That's for sure.
Okay, so let's jump into the tennis world and get into this men's and women's side of things. We're in Division One, and it's the first season of Division One men's and women's tennis at LeMoyne ever. So we've already seen successes that have happened in your world. We've seen successes that have happened at LeMoyne in general. As we're stepping forward, as we're moving to the next piece of your seasons, what can you say about where these teams are at and how things have been going in this transitionary period? It's weird for me to call it a transition because I don't feel like you ever were recruiting necessarily saying, okay, I need to recruit some D2 kids. I feel like you have built this program into, on the men's side, especially going to the NCAAs, and you've built them into a consistent national piece. And then on the women's side, trying to work that and do the same thing for them. I've never looked at your programs and said to myself, oh, these are D2 teams that now have to figure out how to be D1. So I'd love to hear, what you've done in this transitionary period, since I don't imagine that you've ever viewed these teams as what division you're in. You're always looking for just the top talent, and I think that's been very clear.
Right. Yeah. No, I never really paid much attention to the D1, D2, D3 thing in terms of level in tennis. I felt we were, pretty close to where we wanted and needed to be. One thing that has changed that I've noticed is, and it's been interesting and cool for me, is that that move from D2 to D1 changed a little bit in recruiting. So like in the past 8 years, I've had 3 total visits of kids coming on campus and me kind of giving them a tour and the whole thing. And then this past 2 weeks, I'm going to have 3 kids on campus to give tours to and hang out with. So that part's been cool. It's been an adjustment, but yeah, I mean, it's been exciting. But yeah, I mean, we're pretty confident for sure. Both of the programs, we're trying to keep a winner's mindset, in both men's and women's, and yeah, things are going well.
Yeah, and on the men's side of things, you had the NateReynolds.com Binghamton Championships to start off this season back in September, and now you're going to be back in Binghamton on Saturday, January 27th, this Saturday. So kind of a unique thing that there's the Binghamton Championships and now back in Binghamton. What can you say on the men's side of things to that? That's that's how you started your season. Then you had a little break in the action, and you'll be back in Binghamton here in just a few days.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Binghamton being in our conference is, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer for the NEC. It's awesome. They bought an unbelievable facility from a good friend of mine out in Binghamton. So it's great. Yeah, and now it's dual match format. So we're really excited to get out there, and I feel that we're prepared as well.
Yeah, and when you look at the schedule, you and I have talked about this before, of putting a schedule together that's exciting and enticing for people that are, hopefully coming into LeMoyne and giving LeMoyne an opportunity, maybe opening their eyes to the fact that the Heights is doing some great things and having these New York matchups. You had St. Bonaventure a victory, Niagara University a victory for the men's tennis team, and now you'll have Binghamton this weekend. And right after having Binghamton on Saturday, January 27th, staying with this weekend on Sunday, January 28th, you're going to be at Cornell. And then the following Friday, February 2nd, you'll be at Colgate before you get into some NEC. And then we have Binghamton again, because Binghamton's a part of the conference. We have Niagara, we have the University of Buffalo, Bucknell, and so on and so forth. So looking at what's coming up, especially these next 3 matches, Binghamton, Cornell, and Colgate, just how exciting that is for you and how exciting it can be for the community to see LeMoyne just, going an hour here, an hour there to go and face off against these teams where now these D1 matches that you used to set in order to test your teams, now it's D1 versus D1.
Yeah, it's really awesome, and we have some players on campus that are, faces of the campus, and they have positions in different offices on the campus, and they're working on promoting things a little bit more. And it's funny. One of my players came up to me yesterday and said, "Hey, you know what? I'm getting flyers out. And this other guy says, oh, well, I'm going to start handing out flyers for these matches." And I'm thinking to myself, oh, away matches, like, yeah, But he said he got a really good response. There's going to be some people coming out to Binghamton, which is going to be a really nice place to view a tennis match in general. So yeah, it's exciting, And then at our place, we have limited home matches, but the viewing from the stands up there, we kind of have a bistro, a little mini bar set up, with some glass windows to kind of look through.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really exciting.
Yeah, and when you put this schedule together, and obviously Binghamton being a part of the NEC, being an associate member, so there's obviously that's kind of built in, but having these other ones, the St. Bonaventures, the Niagaras, the Colgates, the Cornells, just what you think that does for getting exposure out there for LeMoyne men's and women's tennis. Just, having that up and down, like I said, going this way on the thruway or this way on the highway, to have those matches, how does that create kind of almost automatic excitement around these programs in Division One, knowing that these are now D1 versus D1 matchups, like I said, and these are things that you could build some consistency, you can have some fun, and also the level of caliber of the teams that you're having these matches against. So just what it's like to have those New York matchups, as well as not just having a matchup with anybody, but that there's some really talented teams in New York that you're going up against.
Yeah, so I mean, it's awesome. I mean, we're able to kind of establish these regional rivalries. We've always played Niagara, but now, I mean, we're gonna maybe try to play them twice a year. Binghamton's gonna be twice a year. Yeah, I mean, the Bonaventures, the Siennas. I mean, there's an outside shot. I mean, that besides a few schools that are in our conference, we could schedule all matches within the state of New York, which would be really cool. There's the competition level in the Northeast region of Division One in New York State. I mean, it's terrific. I mean, Columbia is kind of the best, there. Cornell's third best, So I mean, we don't have to go far, and I'm hoping that as we progress, I mean, these rivalries become established. We're always playing these same teams. We know each other in a way. Some of those teams can almost be considered, friends. So we can kind of, have a little friendly match, in terms of the non-conference stuff.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, you're in the Northeast Conference, and so, you have these Northeast matchups that are already set in, but you can have in non-conference. Essentially, it makes men's and women's tennis at LeMoyne unique in the sense of your conference games are in the Northeast, but your non-conference games could be even closer than your conference games. So it almost feels like it's just a conference thing the whole time. Because typically when we think about any team, we say, okay, when they're playing in conference, they're in some type of a region, right? Well, that's how it used to be. Not with the Big Ten in some places anymore, but it used to be, okay, when you're in your conference, you're in this corridor, and then non-conference, you're all over the place. Well, with men's and women's tennis at LeMoyne, the way you've built these schedules, and like you said, what you want to do for the future, we're essentially looking at something that feels like you're never too far away from home, which I think is great.
Yeah, no, I mean, I loved, Northeast 10 tennis, when we were in that D2 space, and some of the places that we visited. Here, like the ability to go to Reese Tennis Center at Cornell, it's just a next level facility. So, I mean, hopefully soon enough we'll be out playing the Johnnies, out in Queens, at the National Tennis Center, Hofstra on Long Island. Like these are the type of teams we're trying to play. Yeah, I mean, we have the Siennas close by in Loudonville, So I mean, it's so cool, and being a kid from here and playing all over the state, I've kind of played in most of these places. I know where they are. So going to Ringe, New Hampshire, I'm lost, But here, going to Queens and playing a tennis match, I know where we're going.
Yeah, like you said, there were some things that you had in conference that they were far, right? They were trips that you had to take, and and long trips that you were taking. Now to play some more of these New York teams and to be able to create, like you said, those matchups and those connections can do some really great things. We know on the women's side of things, they will be back in action after this weekend. They'll be back in action after defeating Damon 7-0 on October 15th. They're back in Hamilton, New York at Colgate on February 2nd on Friday. So we get to see the men and women travel out. And then, looking at what's February 4th on the Sunday, you're going to be at St. Francis playing in the NEC, and then you have a bunch of NEC road games. You'll be at Niagara outside of the conference. You'll be not too far away at Bucknell and whatnot. St. Bonaventure will be coming up. You mentioned Siena. So looking at the women's side of things, just what you could say about their schedule. We're going to miss them this weekend, right? We're going to be sad that they're not out there this weekend, but on Friday they'll be kicking things off again in the continuation of the 2023-24 women's tennis season. So just what you could say about the women's side for LeMoyne and what's coming up, and as well as where the team is at.
Yeah, lots of tests out there on the schedule for sure. The women's space moving from D2 to D1 in terms of level is a little bit more of an adjustment than on the men's side. It's funny. I look back and I'm watching and looking and observing and seeing and trying to pay attention to everything that's going on at practice and in the matches. And, inevitably all these years of doing this, I'm not always positive out there inside of my own head. Outwardly, okay, I'm just about always positive, but I think the women are better than what I'm kind of thinking in my head in the beginning of things. I think we're playing pretty well. I'm excited with the depth that we have and the youth on the roster. The big thing, with this transition to D2 to D1 for the women is every single number one player for all these schools is pretty elite. So the females that have that opportunity to play in the upper end of the lineup, they're going to be tested on a regular basis, and it's only going to make them better in the long run. So yeah, I mean, we're really stoked about getting things going. For me, it's I have to stay present and stay in the moment, because I end up, with the men, I only got 3 guys coming back. With the women, I can recruit 1 player. So I'm always kind of having my finger on that pulse of recruiting to try to make this team better, every single year.
Well, when you look at the women's side of things, and like you had just mentioned that maybe they're a little bit better than what was in your head before, why has it been more difficult? When we see all the success of the men's team at LeMoyne, why has the women's team taken more time? Why is this something that hasn't been on pace to parallel the men? How come we're getting there, but it's getting there on a different timetable?
Right. I mean, to be completely honest, I think it's a lot based on Title IX. So yeah, I mean, there's a program in our conference that is fully funded on the women's side, that has 8 full scholarships. You're only starting 6 players, but you have 8 full scholarships. So I mean, when you have that kind of ability to recruit players like that, it's pretty amazing. So I mean, maybe girl X, is able to get, a full ride, where I just can't offer that, So I mean, trying to balance that is tricky. I think, I'm going to get better at it. I think my players being able to play at that level, they're going to automatically get better. So yeah, I mean, the progression's been a little bit slower, but I think it's going to be, the trajectory may be higher quicker.
Yeah, you talk about, and that's something that we don't know, right? From the outside looking in, is that you might be a D1 program. There's another D1 program out there, but they're funding more scholarships than your program is. Is there a route that you're going to be able to catch up here and offer more spots? Is there any talk on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, we're we're working hard with administration, and we're going to continually get increases in that space, in the athletic funding space on the women's side and on the men's. So that's awesome. Another thing that kind of has slowed the growth is just on the men's side. It seems like our MBA program is unbelievable. So I'm able to pick these grad students, and these guys come in, they're 1 year type of guys. But my scholarships are stackable. So I'm able, if somebody's a senior, it doesn't count against me. So with that being said, the grad student route on the men's side has been very, very helpful for us. It just, I haven't had as many kind of interested players on the women's side into that MBA space that I can slide in and say, hey, come on out here for 1 year. You're going to have a great experience. You're going to enjoy Syracuse, and you're going to be in a great program. So, still trying to work that, of course. I mean, always. Now with COVID ending, the extra years are fewer and far between. Yeah. But we're doing whatever we can to get the best players out here.
Yeah, and it sounds like you said, if they're willing to go to grad school, that's kind of a loophole that creates for you an opportunity. Like you said, it's not counting against your scholarships. It's giving them more time. It's giving you a veteran. It's giving you somebody that's been there or somebody that can come in and be effective right away. So hopefully there can be that connection where maybe you could find some student athletes on the women's side that are looking to get some extra schooling to go to grad school. And now you're building that way where you're not counting against yourself. You're not hurting yourself. And at the same time, you're building that talent. So hopefully there's some doors that open in that respect. I know LeMoyne offers a lot scholastically, so hopefully that can create some space for you in the meantime while things start to expand on their own.
Yeah, no, and I'm talking to one today. So I mean, I'm really really excited to speak with her. She's the type of player that'll come in and transfer in and immediately probably be the best player at our school on the women's side. So, I mean, wish me luck.
As always. So,
of course.
I definitely am always hoping the best for you. Jeff Lonczak here with us, LeMoyne men's and women's tennis head coach. Speaking on tennis, the NFL playoffs, and his Bears team. We got some questions that have come in here. First question, now playing at the D1 level, will you be able to get multiple officials at each match and for home matches?
Good one. I mean, it's looking good for us in terms of multiple officials. We were able to build in budget wise for that. Yeah. The issue that always seems to come up in the Northeast is staffing. Because you have Syracuse University that is contracted by the ACC to have 6 chair umpires, and Cornell as well to have 6 chair umpires. It can be a little tricky. So, our conference would like to have multiple officials, but I mean, I think if you're only allowed to have one, it's still okay.
Yeah, and I know that, and I love the question that came in. Thanks, Greg, for the question, because I've been at matches, as you know, over the years, and I've been sitting here kind of saying to myself, okay, why is this not happening? Why is there not an official over here? And we're kind of, and you and I have talked about it, we're taking people's words, right? We're taking people's words on the score. We're taking people's words on if that was in, if that was out, can they agree on it? And so, not having an official there, and I know at one point, there was an official that kind of stepped in, right? Came over because she was trying to watch all the matches that were going on, and she came over at one point. There was a few things disputed, and then she came right out and said, nope, that one's out, like, let's move on type of thing. And I'm like, okay, well, if she was here the whole time, then we're not dealing with all of these issues. It's difficult, and I think that's something, unless you come out to a match, you don't see the fact that there's a lot of this trust system going on when these matches are going on, that both of these teams are going to be doing things with like morals, and they're going to be upstanding with the score that they're announcing, with what's happening, if the ball goes out, if the ball stays in, what's every run of play piece to it. You're hoping that they're telling the truth, you're hoping that they're being honest. But let's remember something here. You're playing a foe. If you're playing a foe, you're playing an opponent, you're playing somebody that's trying to win, you're trying to win. So even the most honest people, right? If a team's trying to win and they're getting in the playoffs if they win, or if you win, you're getting into the postseason, I want an official watching every match all the time with, a fine-toothed comb, as opposed to, all right, well, we're trying to get into the postseason. This team's trying to get in. There's one more spot. Let's just hope that they're as honest as we are. So, I mean, that's something I hope changes.
Oh, me too. Yeah. I mean, I've been in a position where I was a line judge for a deciding match. Against a team that was, I think, D2 in our region, definitely top three. We got an opportunity to beat them in a third set tiebreaker. The match is tied at 3-all. I overruled my player to lose the match. I mean, that's like, wait a minute here. Like, I'm not a referee. I'm
Yeah.
not an official. So it's like, and then you're disappointing your own player, your own team. I mean, you're making that call. So yeah, I mean, that's a great thing about being in the D1 space. I mean, we're going to have more opportunities to have more officials at our matches, and I mean, it's a necessity, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to have that out there. Jeff Lonczak, once again, LeMoyne Dolphins men's and women's tennis head coach. We're talking about a lot of different things in the tennis world. We're going to get into the NFL in a second. What's on your mind as we get back into action for both of the tennis teams that you are the head coach of? On the men's side, who will be in action this weekend, like we said. On the women's side, where the men and women will travel on Friday, February 2nd, out to Colgate in Hamilton, New York. What is top of mind to you right now with recruiting, with return to matches? What are you thinking about in this moment?
Yeah, thanks, Dan. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Last week, as we bled into Thursday and Friday, I was stressed. I was just on edge because our first match is extremely important. Then somehow Sunday came, Monday came, and I felt, hey man, these guys are good. Like, I mean, why am I so stressed? I have senior leadership here playing against a young team in Binghamton. Like, I think we're going to be just fine. So I mean, that's on my head. And then one thing I can't get away from is the fact that these guys are also graduating this year. So I'm in a position where I got three guys coming back,
Yeah.
next year. So I got to fill my roster. So recruiting is huge. I got a guy coming up from Dallas for the Colgate match. So I'll get a chance to hang out with him. I had a guy from Toronto by way of Boca Raton, Florida yesterday. 2 days before, I had a kid from Vancouver, British Columbia, fly in. So yeah, I mean, it's a balancing act, right? So like, I have to stay in the moment with my teams, So it's all about that balance and making sure that they see me confident, because that permeates to them on the tennis court. So yeah. Thanks for thanks for diving into the mind of a coach who's about to get into their first match.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, and the thing is, and that's the importance, and that's one of the things that is an integral part of the exclusive multimedia marketing partnership that I have with LeMoyne is that every sport has a voice, that every sport has an opportunity to get out there and talk. It's not just basketball, it's not just lacrosse, it's not just soccer. It's everybody. It's tennis, it's swimming and diving, it's going out, and it's track and field and golf, and getting to see volleyball, what you're doing, how you're building. And you've been so gracious with your time. You've always been there for me and created those opportunities. I can ask, but coaches, have to be receptive. And you're one of the people that loves talking about your program. You love putting it out there. And it's an honor for me because it was a hidden gem over the years of how well you were doing. And I was like, no. I don't want to hide this gem in some cave somewhere. I want to take it out. I want to put it on display, and I want to let people see it. Let them know that you're getting players from all over the world on the men's and women's side. Let them know that not only are you winning on the actual court and going to the NCAA's and having these awesome moments happen, but the one of the things that, again, you would only see if you went to the match, the women go there whether it's 10 degrees or 70 degrees, and they support the men. The men go out and support the women. They're there for each other. They're sitting in the lawn chairs. They're got their hats on. They got their hoodies up. They got their blankets over them, but they support each other. I don't think I've ever been to a match where the women haven't been there for the men haven't been there for the women. And I think that that's a huge piece too, because you're a head coach of two different programs, albeit playing the same sport. But it's essentially like you're the head coach of one giant program because your student athletes support each other.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing about LeMoyne, and hopefully about us in tennis is that it's a family, it's a community, and that's the exciting part when I have kids come up and dads and moms come up to visit LeMoyne. They may look at it and see the brick and say, that doesn't look so great, and they may come into the classroom and say, oh, that's a good class size. But when I walk down the hall and I see a friend of mine who loves tennis, and we're excited to see each other. We haven't seen each other, and I can go into the registrar's office and say, "Hey, Jen, what's going on?" And I can go into the graduate admission office and say, "Hey, Teresa." So I mean, that's where, like, we really are a family. There's so many alumni that are coaches. I love Nate in basketball. I love Danny. I try to spread that love, even though inside I'm playing a match on Saturday and I'm tight and nervous and ready to explode.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely like you said. I mean, it's exciting. I love the fact that you're sharing that too, though. You've been a coach for such a long time. You played the game. You love the game. You continue to play the game. But the fact that you said, I got these nerves. Like, I'm thinking about this weekend. I'm thinking about what's coming up this Saturday and Sunday. Are we ready? Did we do everything we needed to do? I'm on the recruiting trail. I got people coming to visit. That anxiousness, because people say that to me. They're like, "Do you get nervous? Like, when you go to do a show, do you get nervous when you go on stage? Whether you're doing something at Pizza Man or at the Wildcat, like, if you're in front of 1 million people, if you're in front of 10 people, like, do you feel that?" And I tell people, I said, I call it the 4 steps. I stand at the edge of a stage, and it's three or 4 steps, and I stand at the edge of the stage, and I think to myself, okay, all right, Dan, you got this. Calm your nerves. My stomach, I feel it, and then I go 1, 2, 3, 4. They hand me the mic, it's gone. It's as soon as you hand me the mic, as soon as you do that, whatever I'm thinking, whatever's going on, when you turn this baby on, when you hand me that microphone, I told people, I said, you think it's not going to happen? I know that God is divine, and I know God is great. I have no doubt in my mind that there is going to be a stadium filled. I have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to be able to travel this world and do a lot of really cool things. And I'm going to do the 1, 2, 3, 4, and then take that microphone. And I said, as soon as I get that microphone, I'm walking out there going, are y'all ready to have a good time tonight? Because I am. And there's nothing else. It's gone. You get those nerves, and it's, somebody told me a long time ago, if you have nerves before a game, if you have nerves before a match, if you have nerves before a broadcast, what it's reminding you is, it's telling you that you still love it. It's telling you still care about it. It's telling you it still matters to you, because something inside of you is not afraid. It's excited, and it's looking forward to it. And it's like this reminder of your body telling you, like, this is really important to me. This means a lot to me. When I do a post-game press conference and I'm trying to get my question in, I get a little bit of that. All right, Dan, be ready. And it's not a fear. It's this feeling of, like, you love your job, you love what you do, you love the opportunity. So when you tell me, I'm getting those nerves, I'm getting that feeling, I'm getting ready for these matches, and I'm thinking all these things to myself and feeling all these emotions, that's why you're a great coach. Because you care about every match. You care about all of your student athletes. You just named people on campus by their first name and going to visit them and see them. It matters to you what you do, and that's why you're successful. That's why you'll continue to be successful. And Jeff, I have no doubt in my mind that these teams are going to make splashes in D1, and that there's going to be records set, records broken, opportunities happening. I do not doubt that men's and women's tennis is going to find themselves their own spot in Division One. I don't worry about that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, it's when you said what you said, it's like I thought to myself, well, Dan's born to do exactly what he's doing, right? So, and I'm born to be here, and I'm born to be the coach of LeMoyne. So I mean, yeah, and we get the nerves as we get out there, right? But then once we're there, now it's our time.
It's gone. So, and I love it. And I get excited for it. And I also, I love the fact that, like, you are who you are, and it's your personality. Like, this morning when I got up, I was like, I'm thinking to myself, I don't think about what other people wear. I don't think about what other people do. All I thought about was I got a new Blue Beetle shirt. I love Blue Beetle. I'm proud to be Hispanic. I love that he's a Hispanic hero. I'm a big fan of George Lopez. So I'm all about, like, I like Blue Beetle so much. I can't believe I'm going to tell this story. But I like Blue Beetle so much that I was in the Walmart parking lot a couple nights ago, and there was a Blue Beetle bucket. It looked like somebody had gone to a movie theater and got a popcorn bucket, and they had left it in the middle of the parking lot in a parking spot with a bunch of trash in it. So I went inside and I had to get something else. So I had to get like allergy medicine, and they happened to have it at Walmart of all places. So I was going in there to get my allergy medicine, and as I'm going in, I'm thinking to myself, I got to find this Blue Beetle thing. And then this woman says to me, she goes, "Can I help you? Are you looking for something?" And I was caught off guard because a lot of people don't do customer service anymore. So shout out to this wonderful lady at Walmart, and please maybe follow in her footsteps. But she asked me, and I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for this Blue Beetle bucket." I couldn't say bucket. My head couldn't think bucket. I'm like, "I'm looking for this Blue Beetle thing. You can put stuff in it." She's like, "Yeah, maybe it's here. It could be there." She's like, "We move stuff around a lot." But I'm looking around for the bucket that is right by my car in the parking lot. And there was a little part of me that was like, just take the trash out and take the bucket home. And then there's another part of me going, nah, people are nasty. So, but that's how much I like the Beetle. I was like, man, that's a really cool bucket. I wish that person was there, like, honey, we don't need this. It's just a popcorn bucket. We have 18 of them. We went to the movie a few months ago. I'm going to throw it out. And then he's like, nah, don't throw it out. And she's like, I'm going to throw this out, Jim. And he's like, nah, don't throw it out, man. Come on, think about it. And then she puts all the trash in it, and she's like, either you staying in the parking lot or this is staying in the parking lot. And he's like, well, okay, all right, you know. And then that was the conversation that obviously happened 10 minutes before I got there, where I could have alleviated all the problems and been like, Jim, just give me the bucket. I'll take good care of it.
Stories from a Walmart parking lot.
Yeah, maybe that'll be one of my books. Stories from a Walmart parking lot, reimagining the fight between Jim and Sue. So, but let's jump into the NFL. We got a question that popped up here. It's a good question. It's on my mind as well. Are you going to be rooting as a Bears fan? Are you one to root? I'm kind of going to retool the question here, but it says, are you rooting for the feel-good story and rival Detroit Lions to move on to the Super Bowl? I'm going to take that and I'm going to kind of tweak it a little bit here, and I'm going to say, are you the fan that can root for a division rival if they go forward and you don't? Or are you that, like, rival till I die? Whoever's in the NFC North that's in the playoffs, I hope they lose by 100. So where are you at?
Yeah, it's funny because I think because I'm from here and I've lived here my whole life, I don't have that hatred for the division. I like what Dan Campbell's done. I think he's a heck of a coach. I think the way that they've put together that team is interesting, but I also really like Shanahan, and I like Debo a lot, and you know I like their skill position players. So I mean I'm gonna root for football. I'm gonna root for a good game. Yeah, I mean I think you know in general I always root for the dog, so I probably will be pulling for Detroit in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Detroit's never made it to a Super Bowl. I think back in 1957 they had an NFL championship, but that was pre-Super Bowl, and so you know they have a chance to make some history. I think when it comes to Detroit, who I picked to win the division this year, they're this team. They almost feel like this team of destiny, and I want to see that. There's this thing that's happening in the background, though, and I can't help but bring it up because I really don't want it to be true. I've never been a conspiracy theorist on anything, but there's things that you're like, bro, pay attention. And one of the things that people brought up, and I wish that they didn't because now I'm thinking about it, but they brought up this NFL Super Bowl logo that at the beginning of the season, they put the logo out. And at the end of the season, in the last two seasons, the logo has been the two colors of the two teams that made it to the Super Bowl. So, and they made this preseason. So, preseason, they got Rams yellow, Bengals orange, or whatever. And then at the end of it all, they're showing you, like, okay, this is who won And here's the crazy thing about it. So preseason, they make the logo. At the end of the season, the two colors that they use end up representing the teams that go to the Super Bowl, and the color that's in the logo the least is the one that wins. So based on this, if the Niners were to go up against the Ravens, there's red and purple in this logo that was made at the beginning of the season. There's less purple than red, so the Ravens would essentially win the Super Bowl. Now, if this happens, that the Niners and the Ravens go and the Ravens win, I'm going to be thinking about this way too much. So do you put any weight to this stuff?
I've heard about this theory. You know, I can't say I do, but I will say that it would not surprise me at all if it was a Ravens 49ers Super Bowl, a rematch of I don't even know how many years ago, the Harbaugh Bowl. And it wouldn't surprise me too much if the Ravens won it. I think they're playing the best right now.
Yeah, the Ravens, I said going into this postseason, they were the most dangerous team. They were the team that I considered to be in least harm's way, I would say. And they've only played one game, but they look like the team that is the best of the bunch right now. Now, Detroit's going to bring some fire. The Chiefs have lived in the world of scoring 20 to 26 points this season, and it's enough. The Niners had a scare with the Packers, but they've been able to come back. It's hard for me outside of the Chiefs. It's hard for me because you look at all these other teams, right? The Lions have never made it to the Super Bowl. You look at the Ravens, haven't had a healthy Lamar Jackson in the last few seasons, so they don't make it that far in the playoffs. San Francisco, and this is the thing about San Francisco that nobody talks about. San Francisco, over the last 2 decades, has made it to the Super Bowl multiple times. Now, when you don't emerge the victor, people will just kind of like throw you in the trash, move on. But it's really, really hard to make it to the Super Bowl. And they've done it in many moments in recent history with different quarterbacks, with different coaches. So, I mean, when you're looking at San Francisco, they kind of are like the underdog to Baltimore if it happens. But and if the Chiefs go, they'd still be the underdog. But the reality of it all is San Francisco has found their way to the Super Bowl more often than a lot of teams in recent history. They did it back in the 90s. They're doing it again. But I'm kind of just surprised that we're not talking about the fact that San Francisco has consistently beaten up on the NFC in recent history to get to the championship.
Yeah, they seem to be overlooked in general. Yeah, I mean, man, they've always had some good teams, and really for them, I think it starts up front. I mean, they got a dominating offensive line. Their defensive line is just like filled with terrific talent, veterans. Yeah, I know. I mean, I find it hard not to root for them. I just like their offensive play calling a lot, and I think they have kind of a bend don't break mentality in the defense. I like Fred Warner. I mean, I like what they do.
Yeah, and CMC, I mean, for goodness sakes, Christian McCaffrey, has there ever been a running back that went from number one fantasy running back to obscurity to number one fantasy running back this late in his career? I don't think a guy's ever gone from one team to another team and become the number one fantasy option across the board when it comes to running back, maybe the whole NFL, and let alone do it this many years into his career. So in reality and in fantasy, CMC has been absolutely crazy. He's very hard to stop. And it makes you forget that they have George Kittle. And, you think about Debo and Brandon Ayuk and all that. And Brock Purdy, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't like the name Mr. Irrelevant. Because if I'm drafted, now there's less than 300 picks every year. But there's thousands of players that are trying to get in the NFL. So if I'm the last pick or the first pick or anything in between, I'm not irrelevant. I'm literally a part of a very tiny club that got picked to go to the NFL. I don't like Mr. Irrelevant because it makes you sound like automatically you're starting off your career behind the 8 ball. You're starting off your career that you should just be happy to be there. That most people think you're probably going to fade off into the abyss and you're never going to become anything. I don't like that. Is he Mr. Relevant now? Absolutely. But I think they should do away with the term of Mr. Irrelevant because anyone who gets drafted has relevancy. And Brock Purdy, I was very surprised he was drafted that late. And that surprise, look at what's happened. I mean, I thought he was pretty good, shouldn't be drafted that late. I don't know if anybody knew he was this good, but I don't like the name and the terminology of like, hey, you're like the joke. You're the punchline of the NFL draft, and he's obviously proven, whether people think that or not, that that's not true. And now I feel like people are going to go through history and search all the Mr. Irrelevance and try to see, like, is there anybody else that's had as much success as Brock Purdy in the NFL?
Right. And now, I mean, as it's become this kind of snowball, I mean, they're bringing out the 99 jersey with Mr. Irrelevant on the back when he gets drafted, you know, and it's yeah, it's strange. I couldn't agree with you more on that. I mean, maybe it gives him a little bit of fire, but it also feels like, you know, kind of a slight.
Yeah, it feels like kind of a hit that is unnecessary. But, you know, Brock Purdy rolling with the punches, doing awesome things, having an incredible career, a very young career, and they need to pay that man, because there's people in college that have never played it down making more NIL money than Brock Purdy's NFL contract. So let's figure that thing out, folks. Before I let you go, Jeff, the Bears, your team, Chicago. So when we're looking at Chicago, by the way, I go to Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. I went there yesterday. They have a popcorn mashup of orange cheddar and caramel, and it's called the Chicago.
Ooh.
And I'm telling you right now, it makes you love Chicago. It makes you think about Chicago. It makes you remember when you've heard Chicago in movies. Did you know in Pitch Perfect 3 there's someone in the U.S. military whose name is Chicago? So there's all these things that bring me back to Chicago. So after getting the Chicago popcorn yesterday from Ma and Pa's and wanting to eat it all, but knowing that I can't in the studio because you get them cheesy fingers. So I have to eat it when I'm away from everything. I have to wear a giant bag, you know. I have to take care of myself, right? I'm a grown boy. So what I've learned is, when you grow up, because when you're growing up, you know, your mom, your dad, they'll wipe you off, whatever. Now when you're eating popcorn as an adult, you have to wear a smock and you have to like sit in like a blow up inflatable pool so that anything you drop goes there. And it's just things that you learn when you're an adult. You buy inflatable pools and you put on a lot of plastic just to make sure that you can have your popcorn and watch your movie and not have to pay attention to where it goes.
That's next level preparation and a very good insight into adulthood.
Yeah, in adulthood, see, back then we're like, okay, our parents took care of us. Now as an adult, we're like, what can we do to make it difficultly easy to do this, you know? And I feel like as adults, our ideas are insane sometimes. And granted, I just mentioned all that stuff and I've never done that. I haven't bought a giant plastic bib, nor have I gotten an inflatable pool so that I can sit in it and eat popcorn. I think that's something Jabba the Hutt would do. But I also so easily created that idea in my brain. And so before we get to the Bears, have you done that as an adult? I mean, you are a father, you are engaged, you are now the father of a dog as well. But have you caught yourself having these crazy adult ideas that your parents would have yelled at you for, and then there's a big part of you that wants to do this idea just because you know that you're old enough to not get yelled at if you do this thing?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I got a kind of local watering hole up the road that I go to once in a while, and they have really good wings, and you know, inevitably somehow my mind just doesn't grasp the fact that, Jeff, you can't wear a white shirt and eat wings at this place. I mean, you embarrass yourself way too much. So yeah, I mean, I think to myself, is it appropriate for me to remove my shirt in public? Do I have anything underneath in public to wear this? But I don't. Thank goodness. So that's always a gripe of mine. So I can completely relate to the popcorn finger instance.
I love this. If you want to see Jeff eat wings shirtless, there's a place he goes to down the road. I can only imagine. I walk in and I'm like, Jeff, 17 degrees outside. And you're like, yeah. and I'm eating buffalo wings. What do you want me to do? So like, but that's that. I mean, but you know what? And I used to never, as a kid, I would almost never spill anything on myself. And as an adult, I feel like I'm proper. I feel like I do things in a very, elegant eating way. I'm not an animal. And I'll go home and I'll be wearing a sweatshirt for like weeks, right? And then you look down and you're like, what is this dried schmutz on my sweatshirt right now? Like, where did it come from? Now I'm trying to go through time. Was this an egg? Was it cinnamon? Well, like, did somebody bump into me? Now I want to blame other people. Now I want to go, I know that I didn't do this to myself. I must have bumped into a lady who had cheesy fingers from her popcorn. So like, I want to put it on somebody else. How dare that person in Wegmans wipe their grapes on my sweatshirt? So, it can't possibly be me because I'm a clean dude, and yet I get stuff on my clothes all the time. And there's times where I look around and I'm like, am I 80? Like, what happened to me that I'm spilling this stuff? But now my mom does it. My mom will spill stuff on her shirt. And so I'm like, in that case, if my mom does it, my mom feels bad, then I'll spill something on my shirt so that my mom will laugh, Because it's like, that's what we do. That's what you do for your parents. But my mom and dad are awesome. It's just, I don't know what it is. Like, I used to look at my cousins and be like, you guys are animals. And now I look at my shirt and I'm like, how did this happen? Like, I want to touch my shirt when I go on commercial break and go, is it on here? Did I do something today? So, I mean, I was like, did I even eat anything today? So before I let you go, the Bears, number 1 overall pick. Some people are saying Caleb Williams. Some people are saying Marvin Harrison Jr., like this guy. So where do you go? Do you take Caleb Williams? Do you take Marvin Harrison? Do you take somebody else? Or do you trade the pick? If you are the general manager of the Chicago Bears, and we are on the clock right now, Mr. Lonczak, what will your Bears do with the number 1 pick?
Right. I think they're not going to do what I'd like them to do, which would be take Marvin Harrison or slide down a couple spots and still take Marvin Harrison. Yeah. So I think they're going to reset that kind of the salary clock at the quarterback position. I think they're going to trade Fields and draft Caleb Williams. And hopefully, I mean, the market for Fields has got to be pretty good. I feel like he's a top 20 quarterback somewhere in this league and a starter for multiple years to come. So yeah, I mean, if we could somehow figure out a way to get a first round pick for him, I think it'd be great. I just think that the money situation is going to dictate, what we do, and hey, I'm just going to try to support in the end.
What'd be really funny is because one of the teams that needs a quarterback, if you traded Justin Fields to Carolina for their next 2 years of first round picks too.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I feel like if we did that, that would be probably an amazing move because Carolina can't seem to win any trades at this point with us or with CMC going backwards. It's yeah. So I feel like we win that one too.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't, and I say this all the time. Like, you want Chicago to hit if you're a Chicago fan, of course, like yourself. You just look at this and you say, Carolina made all these moves to go and get the number 1 pick and get Bryce Young, who I wouldn't have drafted. No offense to Bryce. I wouldn't have done it. So because I wasn't really sold on any quarterback. CJ Stroud has obviously shown us, but there wasn't a quarterback in that draft class I kept hearing about. Draft class 2023 is going to be great. Draft class 2023 is going to be phenomenal. Oh my gosh, Dan, you don't even know. And then I looked at the draft class and I'm like, I don't really like a lot in here. I like Aiden O'Connell. I told a lot of people about him and coming out of Purdue, going to the Raiders. So I like Aiden. But CJ Stroud, I was like, I don't know. Bryce Young, And Will Levis, I wasn't sold on him. I might have been one of the only people in America that didn't have him in my mock draft first round. I had him out of the first round. And he ended up out of the first round. So when you look at this scenario, Carolina makes this move, gives up their future for Bryce Young, becomes the worst team in the NFL, and can't fix it with the number 1 overall pick because they gave it to Chicago. So it was like they slapped themselves in the face at least twice, and now they're still looking for a quarterback, and they're going to be on their third head coach in 3 years in Carolina. So I don't know what the heck they're doing there. But for your Bears here, as a final note, because we'll talk more about the NFL in hour 2, and I'll get back to Carolina. So, Carolina Panthers fans, if you thought I was done with your problems, I'm not. So, but the last piece here for the Bears, though. So you said you think they're going to reset, and you think that they're going to be going and taking Caleb Williams. What's the thing here? Okay, I'm going to give you a scenario. I think that the Bears should keep Justin Fields, keep him in his rookie contract, give him 1 more year. Because we know he can get 100 yards on the ground. Keep Fields, draft Marvin Harrison Jr., and then go out and get somebody who the Titans might be stupid enough to let go of, and that's running back Derrick Henry, and you change the team overnight. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think we have the cap space too. So I mean, I think it'd be great. I mean, if you can, I would like to trade back a couple spots because I just feel like it's going to be 1 and 2 is going to be a quarterback. You know, Arizona, I feel like will draft Harrison if he slides to 4. So if you get there at 3, you get more capital. I mean, who knows? I mean, it could be even more than we got last year. So I mean, I think you go there, draft Harrison, keep Fields, and then you got cap space to make some moves. Whether, you know, Henry obviously would be a bell cow still. I mean, he's just an amazing athlete. Yeah. And shore up the line. I mean, at the end of the day, you talk about depth in the line. I mean, it's just a need no matter what.
Yeah, you know, I think that there's some good things that can happen here for Chicago. And like I said, if they stay with the number 1 overall pick, I think I go Marvin Harrison Jr. I run 1 more year with Justin Fields. I see where it takes me, and then we go from there. And and then I make a play for Derrick Henry. I don't think you're in a bad place because let's say it doesn't work out with Fields. Well, now you have Marvin Harrison Jr. and Derrick Henry, so now you're extremely enticing for a quarterback to come in and right away be effective, especially if you get somebody in the NFL with experience. So even if you make these moves that I'm talking about and you don't have a good season, you're going to be one of the landing spots a quarterback wants to go to if your defense is getting better, different things are getting better, and then they look and they go, oh, okay, I get Marvin Harrison Jr., and Cole Kmet, who's been a good tight end, and I get Derrick Henry. So, you know, I think either way, if you make those moves for Henry and Harrison, whether it works with Fields or not, it can work down the road in getting you a quarterback that wants to come to Chicago.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, we have a lot of things going for us, and probably that draft capital and the salary cap is in our favor. So yeah, I mean, if we can't, you know, manipulate this to being a team, it's tough because our division is actually pretty tough. But if we can't be a wild card team next year, or a playoff team for sure, I mean, I think it's a mistake.
Yeah. So we will see what happens here. We'll see how we step forward with the Chicago Bears. This weekend, LeMoyne men's tennis will be on the road at Binghamton and at Cornell. You can go and watch them on the road. Then you can watch the men and women on Friday, February 2nd at Colgate in Hamilton, New York. In the meantime, Jeff Lonczak, as always, the head coach of the LeMoyne men's and women's tennis team, thank you for your time. Thank you for your laughs. Thank you for fun as always. And it always flies by, man. I don't ever know how to say goodbye to you, so I'll say see you soon. And I hope that all goes well. If you wear your sneakers today, just make sure that you look outside to see if that ice is still there.
Oh, yeah. Head on a swivel, my friend. Head on a swivel. Always a pleasure, Dan. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Take care.
See you. Bye.
See you. Here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, I will be joined for hour number 2 with Ross Turetsky, fellow broadcaster and writer, and someone I consider family.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. Appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time here with us where sports meets that thing called life. And I am always excited to be here on the broadcast with you to talk about a bunch of different topics. Like I said, sports and life. We reach all different areas and we're able to be with you up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world. And I am always looking forward to telling the stories of the wonderful people that are out here. One of the people that I am so happy to speak with and spend time with is someone who has been with me for a very, very long time. Many, many years we've spent on the show. I have missed doing this with him. And so I'm happy that we get to do this now to bring him in picture in picture. My buddy Ross Turetsky, a fellow broadcaster and writer, one of the best ones out there at storytelling as far as caring about people, going the extra mile, putting the work in, being out in the sleet, in the snow when it's 80 degrees outside. This man makes no excuses. He makes time for everything that's important to him, and he makes everybody feel seen and known. He is he's like my Jiminy Cricket. So with that being said, Ross Turetsky here with us, looking good, cleanly shaven. I can't get rid of the goatee, Ross. It's a part of me. So how are you, buddy? How's it going?
Oh, Tony Stark, you make it look good. You're forever young, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Wearing the Maryland Pacer hat and Penn State because I do for both, and then I also the head baseball coach for Luzerne County Community College. So I got 3 colleges all at once. I'm all mixed up, but I love it, and so many fun things to talk about. I miss seeing you, buddy, and hopefully we can see each other soon. And now I can do it live. Get down, Jamie! It is not the
Yeah, happy to have you here, buddy. And I definitely, the funny thing is that, you know, I know people named Jamie, and there's actually people in the sports world named Jamie now. So if they can appreciate you, Jamie, you know, it's a little different. But we've got a lot of things to talk about today. And obviously, like you brought up, Luzerne County Community College, you are the head coach of the baseball team. And so let's start there. What's going on? What's happening? How are things coming together? It was a program that had been stopped for a little bit, and then they decide to resurrect the program. They make a fantastic decision hiring you. I hope you're making more money than Jim Harbaugh, so I'd love to get your thoughts on how things are going.
Oh, no, I don't know about that. I don't know about financials, but I definitely know I'm not making more than him. But no, it's exciting. We're about to start our spring practices. Captains practice, I have 2 captains. They earned their spots during fall ball, but we had our scrimmages and practices every day. Nick and Brandon are our captains. They're going to run captains practices these first 2 weeks of the spring semester. We start our first official team practice next Thursday, February 1st, 4:30 p.m. Be there, be square. Dana Coke on our main campus. We're going to have to be in the gym for a little while, the batting cages, and do indoor work. But rest assured, as soon as it gets decent out, and when I mean decent, you're still going to freeze your butt off. It's going to be like 35 degrees. As long as there's mostly, not all, but mostly snow off the field, and it's playable, and it's about 30 degrees or better. I lowered it another 5 degrees. We're going to get on the field and practice because you got to get ready. Because, unfortunately, I tell everyone in northeastern Pennsylvania, majority of the season is freezing cold. So that's just what it is. And you're freezing, you're shivering, but it gets warm by the end of the season. But the season in May. It gets warm, but we're very excited, and we're hoping that as many people show up as possible. We have our guys that we know are going to be there that we can rely on, and then we're still trying to add a few more guys. I have a guy on our team who is also on the basketball team, and I'm like, go up to them and see if they want to join us. I don't really care as long as we want to work and they want to bust their butt and give 100%. I'll work with everyone. I'll teach anyone. And come out to Luzerne County Community College in Nanticoke. We're the Trailblazers, just like the Pacers with the horses going, nah. So we're gonna have fun and we're gonna compete. I think it's a challenging thing when you're an expansion franchise. When 4 years since COVID, when sports were shut down, but basketball came back this semester. They actually are going to have one of their games televised on local Fox 56 tomorrow at 5:00.
Yeah.
We're hoping to get baseball games televised locally, and it's going to be exciting. I know it's a challenge. Sometimes you're going to get kicked in the teeth when you're a brand new team, but I also think we can sneak up on people and surprise people because we're going to work hard. And we have some talented guys, and other teams are going to have to watch out because we're gonna give them tough fits, be pests on the base pads, and we're going to work hard, make the plays defensively, pitch well, and hopefully squeeze out a few wins. That's the goal, and compete in every single game, never give up, and I believe that we can do that at Luzerne.
And I'm excited because I want to come see you coach. So to me, that's the biggest thing. You and I might have to. I don't know how your wife's going to feel about this, but I might have to steal you around Valentine's Day time because Madam Web is coming out, and so it's been a minute since I've been able to see you.
My son LJ just turned 4 years old last week. He likes to see every single superhero movie. So even the ones I haven't seen or I've seen years ago and I forgot, like some of the original Iron Man and Avenger movies, I watch them all over again. I get to see it through his eyes because he loves superhero movies. We watch Spider-Man's his favorite. He loves Batman. He dresses up in costume while we watch the movie. We go to the movie theaters, and then we're going to go see Aquaman 2 this weekend. We finally going to get around to see that. And we watch every single superhero movie, especially with Disney Plus, with all the Marvel movies, and then Max with all the DC movies. So he loves them all. So he already wants to see. He calls it Lady Spider-Man movie. He wants to see it. He wants to see Madam Web. I know that comes out on Valentine's Day. I don't think my wife wants to watch it, but I know LJ wants to see it. Probably my daughter wants to see it as well.
Well, I mean, and you can tell Miss Abby. You can let her know that we're brothers. I mean, we're family, and I was your Valentine first. So because that's what we used to do, right? Back in 2008, 2000, whatever. Back in the day, on Valentine's Day, I'd just call up Ross. I'd be like, all right, bro, let's just I'm not spending Valentine's Day with anybody. Let's go to a movie. Let's hang out. It's Columbus Day. Let's go hang out. It's Flag Day. Let's go watch a movie. We watched.
I would end like at 2:00 in the morning, and then I would sleep till like 12:00 in the afternoon. And now I have a boy who wakes me up at around 4:00 in the morning, like today. So I'm exhausted, and I covered basketball games at Penn State Spirit last night.
Yeah.
But I work on like caffeine meal all day because I don't drink coffee. I drink 1 can of Coke in the morning as my coffee, and I just push through now because I have very little sleep, but that's okay. But yeah, it's a different time. But we would watch these late night movies right when Cinemark was about to close for the night. Sleet, snow, we're like the mailman. We'd show up to movies, open at night. We watch horrible movies. The Alamo, Punisher Warzone, Batman AD, all the crappy movies. We saw good, bad, indifferent, but they were fun because we got to make jokes about them together. We'd go to Johnny Rockets right nearby, which is now a Chipotle. There's a Five Guys near there, so it's a lot different next time you come to Cinemark. But yeah, I do remember those days very fondly. A different lifetime ago.
Yeah, and it's funny because you're still awake the same hours. It's just that we did it as fun, and now you're doing it as a father whose child will not let you sleep.
I hope when he's a teenager, I'll eventually sleep a little bit, but I might just wake him up, just annoy the heck out of him, just to get revenge on him because he deserves it. He knows what he's doing. He's gonna be up all hours of the night and be with him. And then, like, even if I try to fall back asleep on the couch while he's watching Disney Channel, he just like sits on top of my head. He's like bouncing on me like Hop on Pop and Kangaroo Song from Big Daddy fame, and I can't get any rest. So I'm a little delirious, but that's okay. But we make the most of it at the Turetsky household. But it's fun. Eventually, you'll be dead. You'll be sleeping forever. I'm gonna enjoy it while I'm alive and I'm breathing. So that's my mindset on things.
Yeah, and I think that when they're a teenager and they want to sleep until 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday, that's when you come in and jump on his head and start playing random songs and grab a bunch of toys and put all the Legos on his bed and and have pancakes in your mouth and do all that stuff.
Grass, wash the dishes, shovel snow. I'm gonna give him chores to do. If he wants to stay in the house, he's got to earn his keep here.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're a child, when you're growing up, it's like it's all great, it's fine. Thanks for being in the house. We love you so very much. When you become a teenager, it turns into, oh, if you want to live here, you got to work here. So...
Pretty much. That's them, by the way, in our background. I don't know if you can see it, but our backdrop, that's them from a couple years ago, Lorelai and LJ, my wife Abby. So we're here. We got some plush dolls in the background. Those are my play toys. Don't look away. Don't look at it. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about Bruno. My plush animals here that I like to play with. It's all good up in here.
So we got a lot of stuff. Having some fun here with Ross Turetsky this morning at Luzerne County Community College.
Get all this and join us. This is all you get to talk about. A lot of weird stuff here.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing though, and it's funny because I'm a fan of Darkwing Duck, and so
get dangerous.
So in my room I have a Darkwing Duck plush. It's like this little Darkwing Duck, and I remember I totally forgot to I mean, you don't know when you're dating whatever. So a girl came over to the house and she came and I'm showing her the house. I'm showing her around. I'm a gentleman. I'm not an animal. So I brought her around the house and I brought her upstairs and she's like, whose stuffed animal is that? I'm like, I don't know. How many people live here? And she's like, is that yours, Dan? And I was like, yeah, it's mine. And she's like, on your bed? How old are we? I'm like, I don't know, but you're going to have to get a cab home. So, I mean, I don't really understand. I was like, I got one Darkwing Duck. What's making you so angry about it, lady? Darkwing Duck was here well before you. And guess what? The terror that flaps in the night, she's gone, but Darkwing's still here.
Hey, Darkwing Duck was awesome. It's like a duck Batman, like almost like Donald Duck, but Batman and Launchpad McQuack and all the other cool characters. I remember very fondly. I'm a big fan of it. I've heard they're going to try Darkwing Duck. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see like a movie or a Disney Plus show. I think it would be fun to bring that back. They're bringing back all the other nostalgia from our childhood and some from not even that long ago. I'd love to see that come back.
Yeah, it's just funny because if I really start to get into my jokes, it's, I could say that my exes drove me bonkers, also another show. And then, you can get into Darkwing Duck. I said, I know I'm going to find my wife. I know that this person's my wife when she says to me like, hey, we're gonna go cliff diving or something like that. And I'd be like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, we're going to go do it, babe. She's like, you're not afraid of heights. I'm not afraid of heights. We're going to go do it. And then right before, I'm like, all right, you know what? I love you. Let's do this. I trust you. And then right before she jumps, she turns and looks at me and goes, let's get dangerous. And so like that's wifey right there. She's got to say, let's get dangerous. She's also got to do it with the Darkwing, the little bit of a lisp that Darkwing has, that dangerous. There's just something about, I think, do I have Darkwing in the room right now? Do I?
I think you want your wife to be Mike Tyson, because if you're looking for a lisp, he can put Mike Tyson in a wig, and that could be your future Mrs. Tortora.
I will say this about Mike Tyson. Him and I have the same taste in music. So, I mean, we do have that. I'm not looking for him to be my missus like when Rodman tried to marry himself. I'm not looking for that to happen in my life. However, I do wish Mike Tyson the best, and I appreciate the fact that he understands what a good drum solo is from In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. So let's jump into the NFL playoffs. We have the Ravens and the Chiefs. We have some people boo, and then so. I mean, I know I can already hear it because I was around so many Buffalo fans. So when I say Chiefs, I hear the boos. But we have Ravens, Chiefs, and we have Lions, Niners. Now, my questions to you.
Yeah.
In number one, what are your thoughts coming out of the divisional round, going into the championship round? And my second question to this is, do you think the NFL is rigged? Because once again, the logos of the Super Bowl going into the season, if the Niners and the Ravens make it, then for the third season in a row, the logo gave it away. So I don't want to believe in any of this stuff. I just want to get your thoughts. I really don't want to believe that's true.
What happened before the last 3 seasons? I just recently, the last couple of years, have heard about this nonsense with the color scheme of Super Bowl. I don't believe it. If anything, I think the NFL, they can't lose with any of their storylines. Right now, the only person standing in the way of a Taylor Swift Super Bowl is Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens. Because as much as the Ravens have been the best team throughout the whole year, they have a rematch with the 49ers like on Christmas Day that got major ratings on ESPN and ABC. That'd be a great Super Bowl. I know a lot of people think that's going to be the Super Bowl. But you're telling me the NFL would love to see every 5 seconds reaction shots, even when it's not Travis Kelce scoring a touchdown. Taylor Swift, what she's doing in the luxury box, it will be Taylor Swift nonstop if the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl. So I'm sure the NFL would love that. And the Detroit Lions are a heck of a story as well. Dan Campbell, he wanted to gnaw people's legs off when he first signed with the Lions. He motivates that team to run through a brick wall for him. People have never seen the Lions play the Super Bowl because they've never been to the Super Bowl before. And you got the old-time players like Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, Megatron. You got Eminem hanging out. Can you imagine if it's Lions and Chiefs in the Super Bowl? You're going to have Eminem and Taylor Swift on either side. You might as well just say, Usher, just let the two of them join you on the halftime show because everyone's going to want to see that. So either way, you can't really lose. The Lions would be a great Cinderella story. They've come from pretty much nowhere to now be on the precipice of a Super Bowl. That would be cool. The Chiefs are trying to be the next New England Patriots dynasty with Pat Mahomes replacing Tom Brady. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning had those big-time rivalries in the playoffs for years after year. Now that both are retired, I think Mahomes and Josh Allen are pretty much similar in their battles. But the only difference is Peyton Manning eventually got the best of Tom Brady in head-to-head matchups in playoff games after the first couple of years Tom Brady dominated them. So far, the Bills can't seem to get over the hump. Yeah. This year, it looked like it was going to be their year. The Chiefs looked down. They were struggling. They couldn't catch passes, all the drop passes. Josh Allen played pretty well, missed a few throws. Stephon Diggs dropped a big pass late in that game. Yeah. And then Tyler Bass. I hate the idea that people are sending death threats. Get over yourself. It's a football game. But Tyler Bass had a chance to tie that game up with a very makeable field goal. Then we're probably going to get a great overtime between Mahomes and Josh Allen like we had a couple of years ago in the playoffs. Yeah. We missed out. I would have been excited. So either way, it's going to be a thrilling turn. The Ravens are a heck of a team. They are, right now, they're pretty much the best team all year. Can they get it done? Can they beat the dynasty of the Kansas City Chiefs? Lamar Jackson's going to win his second MVP trophy after almost anyone could have had him the offseason. No one was willing to pony up the money, and they could have had him. Instead, the Ravens kept him. So when he's healthy, the Ravens are a juggernaut. They get Mark Andrews back, the star tight end. So no matter what you see out there, whatever the storyline is, it's going to be a thriller. I know it's probably the better odds of the two home teams win it between the Ravens and the 49ers. But I also saw some flaws there. I saw the quarterback of the 49ers, Purdy. He struggled, especially if the conditions are great in San Francisco. It was a wet ball. Almost lost to the Packers and Jordan Love. They came really close. I could see the Detroit Lions pulling off an upset there. Dan Campbell really motivates that team. Jared Goff is on a mission. He played out of his mind. That defense is really good for the Lions. The offense is very powerful. Yeah, I could not be shocked if the Lions went into San Francisco, knocked Brock Purdy around, who I still don't fully buy into. I think Brock Purdy is a solid quarterback, but I think if he's without some of his weapons, and he might be without Deebo Samuels in this game with his shoulder injury, he doesn't look the same. And when Christian McCaffrey is banged up, he does not look the same, Brock Purdy. So Brock Purdy, I don't necessarily think can win a game on his own. And a lot of quarterbacks, you got to sometimes win when some of your elite players are out. And Pat Mahomes has proven that he can do that. Tom Brady has proven he can do that. I don't know if Brock Purdy can do that. So would not be shocked if the Lions pulled off an upset. And don't be shocked whether you think it's rigged or not. It's scripted like WWE wrestling. Kansas City Chiefs, they're the heart of a champion. It's very hard to dethrone a champion. They know how to win. They're playing with house money. People expect them to go to Baltimore and get their butts kicked by Lamar Jackson, a powerful Ravens team. I would not be shocked. Pat Mahomes proved he could win on the road in the playoffs. Finally got to do that after year being at home at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. This is 6 straight years. All 6 years as the starting quarterback, they played the AFC Championship game. They know how to win these games. And they can keep it close with a solid defense, and they can control, kind of limit the damage of Lamar Jackson running through that football. Yeah. Kelsey, he'll go to the guys he trusts, Pat Mahomes. The Chiefs could pull off an upset, just like they did against the Bills, which everyone thought the Bills were going to beat them. So either way, it's going to be great. But I would not be shocked if, as much as people, and I don't buy this whole scripted stuff, I think you get some questionable calls go your way when you're the home team. I think sometimes that happens. If you're a star player, you get the benefit of the doubt in any sport. Like Michael Jordan got the benefit of the doubt. Star baseball players get the benefit of the doubt. Football, the same thing. I don't buy that into ring. I think that's nonsense that they get their scripts. The NFL made joke commercials at the beginning of the year that, oh, did you read the script and all that? But it would be kind of funny if the Lions and the Chiefs poo-poo the script that everyone thinks that because of the color scheme it's going to be Ravens and 49ers and can go that way. Either way, it's going to be a thriller. I don't know who you have, if you picked these games already, but it's going to be exciting, and I can't wait till Championship Sunday. The only sad thing is we're almost done with football. After that, we got those silly Pro Bowl games where it's two-hand touch football in Orlando, and then you got the Super Bowl, and then you're done. And then I know there's off-season, and there's going to be the United Football League, XFL, USFL together. It's something. But for us football fans, it's going to, you get that highest of high, it's going to be the lowest of lows, because football comes to an abrupt end, and nothing really can replace that if you're a diehard football fan.
Yeah, and I realize that this ball in the studio is Tom Brady specific because it's very deflated right now. So, looking at this, and you gave a great analysis as always. When you look at all these teams, I mean, the Chiefs are a team that they just find a way to win. They live in the world of 20 to 26 points right now. That's where they live. What do they beat the Bills 27-24. So they've been living in this world of we can score.
Like that, kind of like what the Patriots did in their dynasty. They found ways to win, even if it was ugly. Yeah. Even the year Mahomes was a starter, and they were supposed to beat Brady in the AFC Championship. The last time the Patriots won the Super Bowl, everyone thought the Patriots were going to get destroyed by the Chiefs that year. And the Patriots found a way to win that game. And they'll keep these games ugly, but it doesn't matter if you win ugly. Just like Vin Diesel said the first Fast and Furious movie, it doesn't really matter as long as you win. Winning is winning. Doesn't matter if it's by 4 miles. You still win. And that's how they find a way to win. They have that heart of a champion. It's very hard to destroy and dethrone that kind of confidence. They know they can do it. And the Ravens still have to prove they can do it in the playoffs.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, the Chiefs are that team. They're that team that can score 20 points and still win. I said it in early October, when I was down in New York City, and I was covering a New York Comic-Con for Superpowered Pop. I had made that statement. I said, listen, this is a team that offensively, they're in some trouble right now, but they've been able to do enough. Their defense has gotten better. They could score 20, 23, somewhere in this world of 20 to 26, and they can win games. They won double-digit games in the regular season. They're still here now. They've proven a way to do it. They're making all of these cases that they are a dynasty. They've won multiple Super Bowls with Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes. They've made it to multiple Super Bowls. They're now winning in different ways. They have lost players, key players like Tyreek Hill. They're still relevant. They're still doing good things. Travis Kelce drops a couple balls in a game. They still win that game. They're not the number one overall seed. They're not the seed that has home field advantage. They're still winning the games. So if they go and they win a Super Bowl this year, then I think all of these things that have kind of been building into it, you have to start calling them a dynasty. You have to start saying that this is one of those teams, when you talk about the Cowboys and you talk about the Patriots, that you have to start including the Chiefs and what they're doing, because if they can take hold of the NFL and they can find ways, and if let's say they go play San Francisco again and they beat San Francisco again, so now we're talking about different personnel in San Francisco, Kansas City still beating you. So I think there's a lot of things that point to dynasty with Kansas City because of how often they're making it, the victories they have, as well as adding in the fact that even when this team has to win in different ways, they're finding ways to do it. They're also the team that's most visible on television. They're the team that most commercials are taking up and putting on there. Travis Kelce had about 3 different commercials this past weekend during the game. We know that Andy Reid has commercials. Pat Mahomes is involved in those State Farm commercials. So, and Rashee Rice has gotten better. And we're seeing some good things happen with Isaiah Pacheco. I was waiting for his breakout game. He just had a breakout game against the Buffalo Bills. So, ultimately, what we're seeing in Kansas City, to me, is if they go to another Super Bowl, win another Super Bowl under Andy Reid with Pat Mahomes, we have to start talking dynasty, because there's too much that is lining up that you wouldn't say that about a team, because I don't think people thought that Kansas City was going to make it. If they make it this year, this would be the year where people thought they would have been knocked out in the first round, if not even make the playoffs. I think there were people kind of thinking that Kansas City was a lame duck coming into the postseason, and now here we are in the Final Four, back in the championship game, and they're here in the AFC Championship again.
Well, yeah, they were struggling. Like, some of their wins were ugly, their losses were ugly. On Christmas Day, they got destroyed by the Vegas Raiders. They were embarrassing themselves out there. Their receivers dropped so many passes. He had times there's no one to rely on. Mahomes, he's sometimes running for his life. The offensive line doesn't always block. But it's been amazing how they find to rally the troops for playoff time and get it done under this regime with Andy Reid and Mahomes and Kelsey. The one thing I'd ask you, though, is I don't really have much of a problem with it. I think sometimes it's way overdone, but I think that's a lot to do with the NFL and ratings and TV networks. But are you getting sick of the whole obsession that every time you need to see the reaction of Taylor Swift, whenever the Chiefs score, do something in the game, that he did a little heart, Travis Kelsey did a little heart thing when he scored one of his 2 touchdowns on Sunday against the Bills. It's a bit overdone, but I think a lot of that's the TV networks. They're trying to get rated. And I know a lot of people, they're going to be kind of sick if they end up going to the Super Bowl this year. It's going to be never ending. It could be in Vegas this year, the Super Bowl, and you're never going to see the end of the Swifties and all the reaction shots. But in the end, it's business, and that's what these networks want to do. I don't think Taylor Swift, maybe she knows there's attention on her, but I don't think that she's demanded this attention. But a lot of people are starting to be rubbed the wrong way. And I think the Patriots were like that. The first Super Bowl when they pulled off the upset against Kurt Warner and the Rams, the greatest show on turf, people loved the Patriots. They were underdog story. But then after they kept winning and winning, and then there was the scandals with the Deflategate and Spygate and all that, it rubbed them the wrong way. They were just winning nonstop, and some people couldn't stand the Patriots and were thrilled when they finally lost in a spectacular fashion. I think in a little bit we're going to start to get that with the Chiefs. Yeah. The more the Taylor Swift attention, the more you see all the commercials where it's like maybe you should focus more on the game. They're showing Mahomes and Reed and Kelsey nonstop in commercials. People are going to get sick of them, like it or not, and they're just trying to strike while the iron's hot with the commercials. I get that. But I think in the near future, you're going to see that. Same thing with Golden State Warriors. People build up champions, and then when they win nonstop, you start to get sick of them, and you root for the underdog to knock them off. So I feel that's starting to get that way with the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Taylor Swift stuff, I think, has pushed it overboard, where now I think a lot of fans want to see the Chiefs go down just because they're sick and tired of all the attention. And that happens with any great team, any great dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot. It's definitely been a lot. Oh, wait, there's something. Did they just cut away from Wake Up Call? Or are we cutting away from Wake Up Call here on YouTube and on Facebook and on Podbean? Why are we cutting away from? Oh, there she is. Just cut away from you and I, Ross, so that we could show Taylor again. Apparently, she's currently watching and listening to Wake Up Call, I guess, somewhere in the world. So she's actually interrupted the feed. Oh my goodness, Taylor! I don't understand. It's crazy.
The love story, baby. Just say yes. My daughter can't get enough of her. We watched a concert movie. It was good, but we listened to about 6 Taylor Swift songs every night on her Alexa machine, and that's the only thing that helps her go to sleep. So I sit in her room.
Oh wait, hold on, Ross. Oh, I'm sorry. We've been interrupted again. I don't understand. I mean, apparently Taylor really liked what you just said and about your daughter. I don't know. We had to cut away to see what was going on. I mean, you were talking about something sports related, but we had to show Taylor up in the luxury box right now. I don't know. Hold on. Let's see if we can. Are they going to bring us back? Oh, okay. All right, we're back. Sorry.
Like a drinking game, but for the playoffs, if the Super Bowl championship this Sunday, you could have pretty much a drinking game every time they mention her name or show her face.
We would be dead. Everyone would die.
I don't think
you would have alcohol poisoning. They would be pumping out your liver. If we did a every time they show Taylor take a shot, people would be dead with 7 minutes and 14 seconds left in the first quarter. I don't want that. No Taylor drinking games. Please drink responsibly. Please be safe out there. Please, if you're going to drink, stay home. All of those great, things that you need to know. But no, if there's a drinking game for Taylor, then we would have people having, so what is it called? Alcoholic something. There's syndromes and there's things that happen. These people would be blacked out before the first commercial break.
I think I don't know. I think we might end up seeing that. So get ready for it. I'm sure there'll be different. There'll probably be prop bets. There are prop bets on everything, especially come Super Bowl Sunday. If that happens and Kansas City gets in, you're gonna have prop bets of how often they'll show her, how often they'll mention her songs and show her the luxury box. I did like. She signs as new people in the luxury box. She had a funny comedian, Gerard Carmichael, just happened to be in the luxury box. Maybe they're friends. I don't know. She was in the luxury box in Buffalo this past Sunday. We'll see who's in the luxury box in Baltimore, Maryland. She's going to invade. It's like almost Godzilla. She's invaded Baltimore this Sunday, so get ready. 3 o'clock Sunday. She's coming to Baltimore, like it or not.
Well, that's the thing is people like the Chiefs aren't coming to Baltimore. Taylor's coming to Baltimore. It's like it's a Taylor sighting. It's like a mini concert.
All Swift Army is going to overtake Baltimore.
This is what I told you I want. Okay, this is what I want. You haven't heard this yet, but this is what I want. I mentioned it on the show before. This is what I think should happen. Because Taylor, and I'm not saying it's wrong, okay? Now, I don't necessarily believe that her relationship with Travis Kelce is real. I think that this is a publicity stunt. That's just my thought.
Yeah.
That's my thought right now. I hope that it's love. I hope that it's forever. I hope that she doesn't write any bad songs about Kelce. But as of right now,
that might actually take down the Chiefs dynasty if they break and she starts writing bad breakup songs about him. That might be finally the nail in the coffin to the Chiefs dynasty.
Yeah, because she'll do a song about this bad breakup, and people will be like, "Who's she talking about? What could it possibly be about?" And then the last line of the song is, "I guess I'm never coming back to the game." And I'll be like, "Oh damn, she's talking about Travis Kelce." But so right now, I don't necessarily believe that it's a real relationship. I think that it's a publicity stunt. I hope that that's wrong. I hope that they're in love. I'm just following what I feel in my gut. So that's what I think. As I don't even want to say in my gut. It's just it doesn't seem real. It just seems different and it seems weird. Now the whole thing about her not wanting to be on camera, her makeup and her lipstick prove otherwise. Okay, you obviously want to be on camera. You got the reddest lipstick in the world. That red lipstick could be seen from a UFO, which apparently there's many of them and no one's talking about it in the government. And so beyond that, though, if we get into this actual scenario with Taylor and all this stuff, here's my thing. This is what I want. Since we cut away to Taylor, now Travis Kelce scores a touchdown. He does a heart. We cut away to Taylor. That's his girlfriend, right? Jessica Simpson, Tony Romo, they used to do it. Not as much, but they used to do that. But here's the issue that I have. Isaiah Pacheco scored a touchdown, and they immediately cut away. He was on the ground. They immediately cut away to Taylor, so then I thought to myself, is this a love triangle? Are they dating each other now? Because we didn't show the owner. We didn't show the front office. We didn't show, God forbid, Pacheco's family. But we showed, as soon as Pacheco scored, it's like, what does Taylor think? So now it's not even about Travis Kelce. Pat Mahomes scores, Taylor. Defense scores, Taylor. Pacheco scores, Taylor. So this is what I want. At the next Taylor Swift concert, I want giant screens on the side. And in the middle of Taylor concerts, I want there to be montages of the Kansas City Chiefs. I want highlight reels, and I want Andy Reid eating cookies, interrupting, and you just hear him, and you just hear that, and then he looks up, and you see him doing this. I want Andy Reid in the same outfit that Taylor Swift wore to a concert, wearing that outfit with red lipstick, eating cookies on the big screen, interrupting her in the middle of her song. If that happens, then we're equal. And now it's a wash, and now we can move on.
I would love that. I think that'd be awesome. Andy Reid picture like a nice sequin, very shiny dress with the bright eating a cheeseburger like he loves to do, and with the mustache that's frozen like it was when it was negative 27 degrees in Kansas City the week before against the Dolphins. I think that would look spectacular. So I think it's only fair. You have to nonstop Taylor reactions, nonstop Kansas City Chief reactions, and NFL player reactions. If you want to make it fair at Taylor Swift concert. So, hey, the Taylor Swift concert is going back in February. Apparently, she's going to be in Japan February 7th. My daughter looked this up. And then February 11th is the Super Bowl. So she'll have to go from Japan charter a plane, go to Vegas to the Super Bowl to cheer on her guy, and make more heart signs and blow kisses and all that stuff. But it would be wild. So as much as people want to buy into conspiracy theories, with the NFL, just love that. But ratings bonanza to keep Taylor Swift, the name and the attention on everything, and have her in the Super Bowl. So really, if you want to buy into a script, I think the script might have been flipped a few months ago when their relationship went public and she started to show up at these football games. Yeah. I think the NFL would love to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl this year more than any other year before.
Well, but you said, she's going to be off in Japan. I want Chiefs fans. Like, if NFL fans, if you want, like, I want Chiefs fans to go to the things, and in the middle of her concert, she'll use this as, I don't want anyone, okay, let me reword this. I don't want anyone to obstruct her concert. I don't want anybody to make this like a political protest thing. All I'm saying is she should work into her concert to the Chiefs fans that are frustrated with having to see her a million times. She should work into the concert, the Tomahawk Chalk. And so, like, instead of having everybody just wave their hands back and forth, she should be like, all right, you know what? We're going to show each other love. Take your phones out, turn your lights on, and and like they should do that. That would be really cool. But when I see Travis Kelce in the front row of her concert, and I see Andy Reid on the big screen eating cookies, and I see a highlight montage of the Kansas City Chiefs in the middle of her show, then maybe I'll believe it. But right now, I'm seeing somebody who already has more publicity than most getting more publicity. And Haley Steinfeld on the other side with Josh Allen, she allegedly said, I don't want to be on camera. This is Josh's game. This is his life. I don't want to be a part of it.
I heard they were an item, and she's a actress in her own right. She's been pitch perfect. She's
but she
the voice.
Didn't want to be on screen, and she wasn't on screen. Yeah. They didn't show her once. So to say Taylor was like, oh, I don't want to be on screen, BS, okay? If you love I'm not saying don't love Taylor Swift. I'm not saying don't love her music. I'm not saying don't support her. I'm not saying go and heckle her. Don't heckle anybody. None of us in the entertainment world appreciate your rudeness and disrespect. Go get a job. So when it comes to Taylor, I support the fact that she is, out there living her dreams, having fun and all that stuff. All I'm saying is Haley Steinfeld said, this is about my man and it's not about me. She's a singer. Yeah. She's an actress. She's in a million different things. She's in Marvel. She voices Spider-Gwen. She's also the new Hawkeye. She was in Pitch Perfect. But what happened, Ross? We didn't see her once.
Yeah, not once. Like, I've told my wife about that they're together, her and Josh Allen. She had no idea that this was happening. Where everyone's grandma and great-grandma who has a pool, they know about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. No one really knows about this Haley Steinfeld Josh Allen relationship because it's kept under wraps and it's really quiet. Where the other stuff's in your face, and as much as you hope it's legit love and all that, but it's definitely up in Taylor Swift's profile, which it doesn't really need to because she's really famous anyway, and it's definitely helping if you want to be cynical. Travis Kelce's celebrity profile because he's 34 years old. In the next few years, he'll be done playing NFL football because he's getting older. He's losing some of his skill. He's going to want to do the next big thing. So now he'd be attached to Taylor Swift. Maybe they'll be together forever. Maybe it's only for a few years or for a few more months. His name has been in the media and the attention. He got the whole Saturday Night Live. He's been hanging out with her, being the pictures nonstop. The paparazzi are all around. It definitely is up in his profile for the next thing he does in his career. Whether it's in broadcasting, he has that New Heights podcast show with his brother. Even Jason Kelsey's getting on it because he doesn't want to officially announce he's retired. I think he's retired now when the Eagles fell apart and had the epic collapse, and he's getting older and beaten up. Jason Kelsey actually became more of a media darling. I'm all for this. I hope he does this in Baltimore, and maybe in Vegas they get the Super Bowl.
Say it.
Rip it off, get drunk with the fans. He got drunk with the Bills Mafia, and he actually stole the thunder from Taylor Swift. I'm kind of curious if deep down, if you had truth serum, if Taylor Swift was super jealous of Jason Kelsey, her possible brother-in-law one day, because him ripping his shirt off, going crazy, even lifting up little kids to try to bring them in the luxury box to meet Swift, he became a more media darling than Taylor Swift probably will ever be. Jason Kelsey looking like the everyman with his beer gut and just going nuts and loving every moment. You might say he's not retired. I think that was a sign that he's retired. He's letting everything go. He's enjoying life, and I'm all for it, Jason Kelsey. I hope you bring the pain on Sunday in Baltimore and in Vegas in a couple of weeks if they go to the Super Bowl. I hope he brings that energy with the fans, rip that shirt off, and go crazy, Jason.
Well, that was my thing. Is I was like, I literally said to myself, I want to see, as a straight man who loves women, I would love to see more Jason Kelsey shirtless than Taylor Swift.
I want to see reaction shots, not of Taylor, of Jason Kelsey, his drunk reaction shots, alleged drunk reaction shots, we'll have to say, and his big beer gut. I want to see that every time the Chiefs do anything. I want to see them go right back to Jason Kelsey and what he's doing, and maybe him being passed out by the beginning of the fourth quarter. That's what I want to see more than Taylor reaction shots.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but again, I think it's a publicity stunt. I don't know how Travis and Taylor got connected here, but I just feel like this is something that was made to happen. It doesn't feel real. I hope I'm wrong, but this feels like a Hollywood setup that'll eventually go wrong. So.
Yeah, though, the Swifties are going to come after you, so you better be ready, Dan.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's a real relationship. That's all I said, people. Don't get angry here. So
you're ready. You're now on their crap list. They're coming for you, buddy. You better watch out. You don't mess with those Swifties. You don't mess with the Beehive for Beyonce. She is like
but
she's
here's
like
my
royal.
thing though. Why are they so angry? If she's all about love and support and bringing people together, why are the Swifties an angry bunch? They should be a happy bunch.
She is like a godly figure to them. She can do no wrong. So between Beyonce and Taylor Swift, it's almost the level of the Pope at this point. You cannot talk bad.
Well, I will tell people this: when you start to idolize anything other than God, that's a really bad place to go. You can love and support and appreciate and buy tickets and be that. But I would say this to people. I'll be like, don't ever idolize me. I don't want a statue. I don't want people worshiping. Like that's an absolute
I already buy a house, so I think that ship has sailed, buddy. I already have a statue of Dan the Man, so now I got a binocular lens. I see what you're doing at all times. Don't worry, buddy. I idolize you already, bud.
Well, you know what? I will tell people this, and I think that there's nothing wrong with it. If you own your own home and you don't want to wear clothes in your house, you don't have to. And now all of a sudden, wake up call fans are going to be going like, "All right, where's he at? Let me borrow that telescope, Ross. Let's see what Dan's about." But I don't think you should have to. You should not have to wear clothes in your own home. And I remember, like, I would date girls, and I had already, I'm living my life, and I come down the stairs, and she's like, "Really, Dan? This is what we're gonna do today? Like, you're just gonna walk around like this?" I said, "It's my house." So.
It's my party. I do what I want. That's what it is. As long as you have the curtains closed, like, if you have the curtains open, that's a little frowned upon. But if the curtains are closed, I think anything goes. And you want to walk around naked, just for yourself and not bother anyone, why not? But yeah, I would think that if I did that, my wife would be like, "What the hell are you doing? Put some clothes on." She'd be like, "No one needs to see that." Can
I tell you what I did when I moved in? I went outside. I went to my backyard. My dog Lily goes to the back. She looks at me and she kind of looking around like, "Daddy, can I pee here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, honey, this is your house." And I said, "You know what? Let's do this." And I was married at the time. So we went to the bottom of the deck in the backyard. I unzipped my pants. Lily's over to the right. Lily pees.
Like Ghostbuster, you sick bastard. Did you do that?
I peed and she peed at the same time. So we're both Mark, and I looked at her, and as I'm doing it and she's out over there doing it, I looked at her and she looked over her shoulder. I said, "Now this is our house, baby girl." I said, "Now this belongs to us." And think about it this way. This is why I told the story. My ex-wife was the only one to not pee in the backyard, and who doesn't live here no more?
Yeah, it's just the two of you. Hey, it's kind of like Big Daddy, Adam Sandler, and his little buddy. They peed on the wall. They marked their territory. Why not?
Hey, listen, if I'm in my backyard on my territory and I'm peeing in the backyard, which every card-carrying man has done at some point in their life, whether they want to admit it or not, if you're peeing in the backyard of your house and somebody goes and says, Howard, why are you peeing in the backyard of your house? Why are you looking over my fence? I got a fence. I got protection. You're not supposed to be looking in my backyard. Keep that business to yourself. So my thing is, if you pee in your backyard and you honor your house, and the funny thing, I didn't know this as a kid. My dad told a story recently. Apparently, I used to pee in the backyard of my house growing up. When I was a kid, my dad told me he let me do it one time in the backyard. So then I thought it was like an everyday thing, and I would just come out and do it and pick like random spots. And I was like, well, Dad, as an adult, you should be proud to know that when I got my own house for the first time in my life, I peed in the backyard. It's my house.
To make that question, how many of the Dan Tortora fans, how many hear Discord? Is it a faux pas or is it a thumbs up? Pee your back. That is the question.
Yeah, let's see if we got anything here.
Cool. Yep.
It says now I'm on the Swifty Nation radar. Listen, let me say something.
Oh, that's like the no-fly list. Now you're on their radar. You're on the Swifty radar. You're not going to be able to do anything now.
This is how I look at it. Okay, when I do Two Mics No Filter, another show on Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, my co-host Andrew Smith is a big-time Swifty fan, and I've had conversations with her. We've joked about it for such a long time. And I actually put one of the Taylor Swift songs in my top 10 of 2022. I think Taylor's got some really good songs. I've also said that Taylor and I could probably hang out and have a lot of great stories because she makes songs about exes and I do comedy about it. So, I feel like Taylor and I could have some fun together. I'm just saying I don't necessarily believe that this is a real relationship. This could just be like a movie thing playing out in real life that's going to be short-lived. I don't know why they're doing it, but it doesn't seem genuine. If it is genuine, then I hope they get married. I hope they have love. See, to all the Swiftie fans out there, you got to listen all the way through. I said I don't believe it's real as of now, but I hope it is real, and I hope that they get to spend time together and that this is a genuine relationship. But do I, in this moment, if you put my feet to the fire and gave me a lie detector test and you said, from the outside looking in, I don't know either one of these people. If you said to me, do you think it's real? No, I don't. But that doesn't mean anything bad. It just means I don't believe that it's real, and I don't believe you should cut away to her when Isaiah Pacheco's doing it. I think you should cut away to his family. Like, if I scored a touchdown and I wasn't dating anybody, then cut to my mom and dad. Cut to Ross. Like, cut to somebody that knows me. So, that would be great. And are Swiftie fans going to be mad that we didn't show Pacheco's family?
I think they just want to see Taylor. I don't think they care. But yeah, I find it really weird. I only understand it is if Travis Kelce makes a big play, or if he God forbid, got hurt, or if he made a big catch, or a winning touchdown, or he had 2 touchdowns on Sunday against Buffalo. Then, yeah, it's a little annoying, but you can do reaction shots of his famous girlfriend. But when it's other players who are making big plays and it's not just Travis on every play, we don't need to see the reaction shot. Show the reaction shot when Travis does something big, and then if they have a big win or loss, you can show her reaction because people are going to want to see, is she sad, crying if they lose? Is she happy, excited, screaming, jumping up and down if they win? But other than that, I think it's a little overboard when a random player who knows nothing about...
Oh, come on! He's talking!
That's what... There's no need for this. So I'm telling you, Baltimore, she's coming for you. The Swift consultation is coming. They're going to invade Baltimore this Sunday at 3 o'clock, and you better hope you knock her out, because if not, you better hope you knock the Chiefs out, because if you don't, they're coming to Vegas, the Swiftie Nation, and they're going to overtake all of the Vegas Strip for those 2 weeks, the week leading up to Super Bowl and Super Bowl week, all the way through February 11th, right before Valentine's Day, with all the hearts and all those emojis. You better watch out, because that Swiftie army, it's coming, and really, there's one man on this earth who can stop it now, and that is Lamar Jackson.
Jesus Christ.
Lamar Jackson, great talent. I pray for you, Lamar Jackson. You get this done on Sunday, win at home, and knock the Chiefs out so we can finally put a stop to the Swiftie army overtaking the NFL for the next few weeks. I want it to be over until at least next season. If they're still together next season, then I know we're going to see more of it. But let's at least let it lie.
We'll see how the offseason goes when she doesn't get any cutaways.
I know. Like, what's she gonna do? Will they show her reaction shot at the NFL draft? She knows nothing about those players, and they don't know her. Are they gonna show their reactions? Free agency? Are they gonna be like a ticker in her hotel room? They're gonna show her reaction shots every time a player signs or gets traded. I don't know how far it will go. Maybe she'll go to USFL games with Travis. Who knows? Maybe, or now it's the UFL, the United Football League, starting March 30th. Maybe she'll have reaction shots for that. It will never end. She'll join the baseball season coming up, basketball and hockey playoffs. I guess we need Taylor 24/7 year-round in our sports world. That maybe is the next step. But, yeah, so there's really Lamar Jackson. You got to get this done. Knock out the Chiefs and put a stop temporarily to the Swifty Army overtaking the NFL. He's the only man who could do it, and I cross my fingers he gets it done on Sunday.
And now the Swifty Nation is off of me and on to Ross. And I would like to tell you all that everything that Ross just said is Ross's express opinion, which is not necessarily the opinions of Dan Tortora Broadcast Media or Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
That's all right. I encourage all the haters. I don't mind. My whole life I've had haters. I don't mind. I fear nothing, and I'm good to go. My daughter's a Swiftie. I don't know. I listen to her music. I think it's pretty good, but I think it's enough is enough. I hope the Ravens, as much as my wife hates the Ravens because she's a big Steelers fan, I hope the Ravens could win this game on Sunday and put a stop to this. And I want to see Lamar Jackson win his first Super Bowl title to go along with the second MVP.
I just want to see the Swifty Army go into Baltimore because of all places that you can go to, Baltimore ain't going to put up with none of that. So like this. Baltimore, Philadelphia, you know what I mean? It's like if you come in there and it's like, yeah, where are the cutaways? Let's see some cutaways. I feel like Baltimore's going to be like, oh, you came to the wrong place, honey. I don't, and this is what I want.
If you ever watch the TV show The Wire, like Baltimore is a hard living city. It's a great place. But I don't know if they would put up with some of that shenanigans, but I'm hoping they find a way. As much as I don't really like the Ravens, I kind of want to put a stop to all the Taylor Swift madness for a little bit in the NFL. Yeah. I kind of hope the Ravens win, and that I'm hoping the Lions can actually pull off the upset in San Francisco. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see the Lions get to their first ever Super Bowl. They've never done it before. Do it for Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, all the great Lion players who never got to play the Super Bowl. Do it for them. Eminem can hang out at the Super Bowl. I don't mind seeing Eminem, Marshall Mathers, Slim Shady reaction shots every time the Lions do something good or bad in the Super Bowl. I'd be up for that because it's something different. So my hope would be the Ravens find a way to win, put a stop to the Swift Army for a little bit, and I hope the Lions find a way to pull off the upset against a shaky Brock Purdy and the Niners, and they get to their first Super Bowl. So I'd love to see Ravens and Lions in the Super Bowl if I had to make my picks for this Sunday.
Yeah, just got a message here, literally in the moment, that said, I'm so over it, hoping for a Chiefs loss this weekend. You know what I've realized, though? Taylor Swift has caused arguments between the NFL players and so many of their wives and girlfriends because they're sitting there going, why aren't I on TV? So, you know what I mean? She's been married, like this guy's married to this woman. Like, think about it. I never see Trevor Lawrence's wife. I'm in Jacksonville at the home games. I never see Trevor's wife. I don't remember what she looks like. I never, ever see, and I know people are going to say, well, Trevor's wife is not a world-renowned singer, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is like when you're at a game, you're not Taylor Swift the singer. You're Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce's girlfriend. But
you know who's making the most of it besides the Kelce, Travis and Jason Kelce, them get more attention than Taylor. Pat Mahomes' wife, Brittany Mahomes, is all over the TV. She was on that Quarterbacks miniseries that was good on Netflix, behind the scenes with Patrick Mahomes last year, and now she's all over the place. I don't know if it's pretend or real. She's pretended at least, to be Swifty's best friend, and they're all together. They're showing their reaction shots. She basically put Taylor Swift in a headlock after they scored a big touchdown against Buffalo this past week.
Because maybe she's opportunistic. She's saying, okay, if you're going to show Taylor here, and
this is her chance.
And Pat Mahomes is my man, and my man is throwing to him, then I'm going to use this as a way to put myself out there, get myself on social media, get myself out, get some publicity. So if Taylor's going to come interrupt our game, I'm going to put my arm around Taylor, and I'm going to be her best friend, and it's going to help me out. The reality of it all is that we just spent a really long time talking about this. And the thing is that all I'm saying is there's some guy, poor guy in the NFL. I hope it's not true, but there's some poor guy in the NFL right now whose wife is like, if you don't get me on the TV, I'm going to divorce you. I'm going to be done. I'm done, Reggie. I'm done. Because you know what? I've been with you, and I dealt with you through all this, for all these people and all these things. You cheated on me back in high school. I stayed with you. I've been with you. I got kids with you. And this woman's going to come in here, and she's going to take my thunder. All I'm saying is more Jason Kelce with no shirt on, more Andy Reid at Taylor Swift concerts. That's all I want.
I want to see big burly dudes, no shirt on, to see their furry hair, chest and their beer bellies, because in my mind, it's like Blades of Glory Will Ferrell said, drink it in. This is what a real athlete looks like. This is what a real man looks like. I like them to look like an average Joe like me. They're better than me. They have more money than me. They're better athletes than me.
They're not better than you.
I like to feel like I can compete with them because I can look like Jason Kelce. I can't look like Brad Pitt, George Clooney, or Beyonce or Taylor Swift. I can't be like them, but I can look like Jason Kelce. I can aspire to have a beer gut like Jason Kelce. So I want to see more average Joe looking guys like Jason Kelce on my TV. And that's the one thing I'm hoping for, is that we get a lot of shots of him in Baltimore. I want to see him wear no shirt, going crazy in Baltimore. And if they do make the Super Bowl, that's the only thing I'll be excited about, is not the Taylor stuff. I just want to see Jason Kelce enjoying retirement life and going crazy. And hey, he might become a big star for that post-NFL career because of his shenanigans. I love it. So that's the only thing I'm kind of hoping for. But it's a lot. And I'm totally with you, though, with Brittany Mahomes, Pat Mahomes' wife. I thought at first she was going to be super jealous that, my husband's the best player in football. And now, Travis Kelce is a new superstar girlfriend. She's going to steal all my thunder. But in a way, she put her arm around her, and now they pretend to be best friends. Now Brittany Mahomes has become more popular, more famous than ever. So she decided basically to make lemonade out of a tough situation, and now she gets the best of both worlds. Because I really thought it was going to be like a cat fight. I thought she was going to be super jealous that Taylor was going to steal her thunder, and now it seems like she's enjoying life because she gets to be famous and be basically her sidekick. She gets to be the Robin to her Batman. So I think she's enjoyed that.
And Greg wrote in, he wants to see more Jake Browning girlfriend cutaways, Stephanie Niles. So he wants to, and if you have not seen Stephanie Niles, she is absolutely beautiful. And as a man who respects relationships, I say good for you, Jake Browning, and I will leave it at that. She is a beautiful looking human being. Good for you, Jake. I think Jake is getting ready for payday. I think the Carolina Panthers and the Minnesota Vikings are a couple teams that could come a-calling for Jake Browning's services. This man has proven that he should have an opportunity at a starting job in the NFL. He's not going to get it with Joe Burrow coming back in Cincinnati. So, Jake Browning, go and get yours. And if I can have a girlfriend someday that is wonderful on the inside and the outside, that wears that onesie that's Miss Stephanie Niles wore, hey, man, I think, people are like, he's a backup quarterback. How's he doing? I think he's doing okay. So, with that...
I definitely agree with you. He's earned his way that he's going to get a starting job somewhere probably this season, and he played well. He almost led the Bengals to the playoffs after Joe Burrow went down with the wrist surgery. He's a lucky dude, and I think he's going to continue to be lucky. I think he's going to sign with someone. He's going to get a chance to be a starter this upcoming season. It'd be something if maybe Bill Belichick takes over the job of the Falcons. They talk maybe they'll bring in Kirk Cousins. Maybe they bring in a Jake Browning. Maybe Washington brings in a Jake Browning. He's a heck of a player, and I think that definitely would help him. So, no, I think he's going to definitely be in a good situation no matter what. I totally agree with that.
We've talked about Andy Reid in dresses, Taylor Swift. We've spoken about Jason Kelce shirtless, and Stephanie Niles onesie. And this has been a typical edition of Ross being on the show. Ross, let's get into the coaching changes here. My predictions, and they've stayed my predictions. So people say, oh, these are your predictions today. No, these have been my predictions for a while now. Over a week, I have been I should have put this out a little bit sooner. I'm probably going to put it out today. But yeah, my prediction was Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers and Bill Belichick either to the Chargers or the Falcons based on draft picks and offensive situations. I had Belichick going to the Chargers with Justin Herbert and then having some of that veteran talent. You get your star quarterback, and then you have this vet talent, but you're going to have to go draft pieces, and they have the number 5 overall pick. If he goes to Atlanta, you got all these young pieces, the number 8 overall pick, and he can go get a quarterback if he's not sold on Ritter. So of those two scenarios, those were the best to me. Either get your star quarterback and use the talent that you have with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler for maybe another season, hopefully, and get some talent in the draft. Use that 5th overall pick to get a big-time player, maybe Marvin Harrison Jr., or go to Atlanta, have Drake London, Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, and go and get yourself a quarterback, and then you have all this young talent. Those are the reasoning pieces why I thought Belichick would go to one or the other at 71 years old. But I think that if Jim Harbaugh is going anywhere, and I've said it over and over again, he's going back to the West Coast. So if he goes to the Chargers, I think Belichick goes to the Falcons, and those two will be done.
Yeah, I agree with that. It'd be funny to see Belichick go to the Falcons. That's the team they had the epic 28-3 comeback win in the Super Bowl, the greatest Super Bowl comeback. So now he'd be joining the Falcons. And it sounds like, as much as it'd be great for him to win a Super Bowl for his legacy, just like Brady did without Belichick, if he goes to Atlanta, it's probably not going to happen. But Atlanta, if they get themselves a decent quarterback, I don't believe in Desmond Ritter, and I don't believe in Taylor Heinicke. I like the reports of them maybe going after as a free agent because he's probably going to leave the Vikings. Kirk Cousins, he's coming back from the Achilles injury. Kirk Cousins is a solid player. I don't think he's great, but I think he's a solid player. I really like, along with Pat Mahomes in that quarterback's Netflix show the first season, they showed Kirk Cousins behind the scenes and how hard he works and a man of faith. And I really like what I saw of Kirk Cousins. So I think if he got Kirk Cousins, joined him in Atlanta, Bill Belichick could be a solid part of Atlanta, rebuilding them. They could be a playoff team. Not a Super Bowl team, but a winning team. And he only needs about 2 good years to break Don Shula's all-time wins record as a head coach. And I think at this point, that's what he wants to do, become the winningest coach in football history. As much as it would be great for him to win a Super Bowl without Brady, I don't see that happening there. And then Jim Harbaugh, I know people are like, maybe he'll come back to Michigan. He keeps getting in trouble in college. He missed the first 3 games of the year for alleged recruiting violations. Then he missed 3 games at the end of the regular season because of the alleged sign-stealing allegations, which he claims he didn't know anything about. I don't necessarily buy that. I feel like he knew something. It's great. I think now, though, you leave now with that, strike with iron's hot. He goes out as a national champion, returns to his alma mater, a hero. I know he can make a ton of money in college, but I think he wants to prove he can do it in the NFL, just like Pete Carroll did. I was surprised the Seahawks finally moved off of him. Pete Carroll did in college. He wanted to go back to the NFL where he struggled at first. Jim Harbaugh had actually a lot of success in the NFL with Colin Kaepernick as quarterback with the 49ers. Made a Super Bowl against his brother, John Harbaugh, the last time the Ravens made the Super Bowl in 2012. And then he had a fallout with the general manager in San Francisco because Jim Harbaugh probably should still be the 49ers head coach. He did a great job the first time around. I think he now wants to go, win it at the highest level, just like he did now in college. Now he doesn't have to deal with the transfer portal, the NAIL money deals and all that stuff. Transfer portal, so it's like free agency for college athletics where a guy can leave every year if the bank can come back. He doesn't have to deal with recruiting, doesn't have to deal with NCAA recruiting violations or possibly get suspended. He gets to leave all that mess behind him and still leave Michigan as a hero as long as they keep that national title and they don't retroactively, one day maybe take it away. He gets to leave a hero, be a champion, go out as a champion in college, and then go to the NFL and try to repeat that success. And I think with all the Chargers' talent, and Justin Herbert's, I think, a heck of a quarterback, they just need someone to be a functional coach to lead that team. With all that talent, because Staley was not the answer with the Chargers. They let him stay longer than they should have. I think Harbaugh can be done. So I think that would be a great combination. I think Harbaugh to the Chargers, Falcons, as long as he can deal with some of the mistakes a young team makes, but they have talent. I think, especially when you got Kirk Cousins at quarterback or a Jake Brown and something like that, I think Bill Belichick in Atlanta trying to get that all-time coaching wins record. That's a good spot. I'm not sure what Washington will do to replace Ron Rivera. I'm not sure which direction they'll go. I don't know if they're totally sold on Sam Howell at quarterback. I am surprised Eagles are going to stick with Nick Sirianni, though he did well, but they collapsed at the end of the year. And the Cowboys, I really thought Jerry Jones was going to have a quick trigger finger and fire Mike McCarthy by the end of that game when they got blown out by the Packers at home, first round of the playoffs when they were expected to make a Super Bowl run. I thought he wasn't going to survive that. They claim he's going to be there, but remember, he's going to be back as a lame duck coach for one season. And Dan Quinn might be his defensive coordinator, who might be waiting in the wings to take over that head coaching job. So that's going to be a lot of pressure on Mike McCarthy. They're not going to extend him. He's going to play on an expired contract this year, and if they struggle, then he doesn't even have to fire him. He can just let him go and not resign the contract. But I was surprised that Jerry Jones wasn't going to go after a Belichick or Harbaugh or Mike Vrabel. I think Mike Vrabel did a great job with the Tennessee Titans, should not have gotten fired, and I think he would be a coach. So I want to see kind of that direction. But I am surprised. I'm not as surprised the Eagles stuck with Sirianni, but they're going to get a new offensive defense coordinator. I'm surprised that Jerry Jones showed some restraint, letting Mike McCarthy stay as the Cowboys head coach, but he's only going to let him play out his contract. So after this year, he's got so much pressure. If they don't win it all, that he's going to be gone.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy, and I said the Dallas Cowboys are the only franchise that has to do a press conference about keeping a coach. And so, it's so weird. Oh, yeah, we're not going to fire him, just so you know, which is usually the one that they do before they fire the guy. But it's and you brought it up, let him play out an expiring contract, or let him coach out an expiring contract, I should say, and then no more Mike McCarthy. The Dallas Cowboys are a different team in the postseason. The Niners bumped him out. When the Niners were a better team, as far as where they were in seeding, they beat them. When they were the lower seed, the higher seed, they beat them. And then they got beat by the Green Bay Packers. They had not lost a game at home at AT&T Stadium all season long. And then you lose in the playoffs and you get blown out 48-16 at one point. Just an awful game. You're starting to put in your backups and then they start to come back. So then you're like, all right, we got to close this game out. But it's they got to figure it out. They got to figure it out. And I think every year is a constant reminder, as I am sympathetic to, I shouldn't want to say sympathetic. In the comfort of my own home, the Cowboys are my second favorite team. And people that know me know that. The Dallas Cowboys, but as a broadcaster, I'm impartial. And as a broadcaster, they played absolutely terrible in that game. When I look at the Dallas Cowboys and I see Jimmy Johnson in the Ring of Honor finally, it is a constant reminder every single year. This year was a reminder. Barry Switzer was a reminder. All these coaches in between were a reminder. Bill Parcells did some good things. But outside of that, every year that the Cowboys do nothing in the playoffs, like this year, it is a reminder that the ripple effects of getting rid of Jimmy Johnson because him and Jerry Jones couldn't play nice in the sandbox, it still pisses you off because they would have won another 2 Super Bowls. They would have had 5 at least if Jimmy Johnson was the coach. I still go back to that game where they won the Super Bowl the year after Jimmy and Barry Switzer was the coach, and they're on the field and Barry's walking in front of the camera and his players are walking and there's not necessarily anybody going near him, and there's this guy on the team that I feel like turned and looked at him like, who the hell is this guy? I feel like they played the whole season thinking they had Jimmy, and then they looked on the field and they go, the hell's this guy doing on the field? And they're like, that's your coach. And he's like, no, it's not. I feel like in that moment when they won the Super Bowl, they realized, oh, this guy Barry Switzer, this is our coach. And then they started losing. And it's no offense to Barry Switzer. I'm not saying he's loses every game that he coaches. What I'm saying is,
it could have just let Jimmy Johnson continue to motivate.
What I'm saying is they won one, and then after that, it's like they kind of all realized, oh, hey, man, the adrenaline's gone. That's our coach. Jimmy's not here. And, it still ripples through the Cowboys today. And I don't like when coaches take over duties. When you're a head coach and you're a coordinator, that almost never works, and I just don't like it, and I don't want Mike McCarthy doing that. I understand you didn't want your guy there to do this, that, and the third, but at the same time, it's like then you hire somebody else. Dino Babers didn't have a special teams coordinator, and Syracuse had their worst special teams unit 2 years ago than maybe I've ever seen in my entire life. And then we look at Mike McCarthy running the offense and being the head coach, and I can't stand stuff like that. I think a coach needs to realize that, you can't be a coordinator and a head coach of an NFL team with all of this stuff going on, and as crazy as these teams have gotten and everybody that's out there and as difficult and intricate as it is, I don't think that you can call offensive plays and also look at the entire team as a head coach. You have to find somebody to go in there. When they said going into this season, Mike McCarthy's also the offensive coordinator, I was like, okay, well, I don't think it's going to work. And it didn't work.
Yeah.
You can argue it worked for a little while, but it didn't work when it counted. So,
and I like the young offensive coordinator they had, Kellen Moore. And basically, I think Mike McCarthy was threatened by him and thought maybe he'd eventually try to take his head coaching job. And I think he wanted him out to build it. So he threw him overboard. And they have all that talent, and they do great in the regular season, 12-5, 3 years in a row, and they do nothing in the playoffs. So and helped the Eagles collapse at the end of the year, so they were able to win the division title. They had a chance to have 2 home games in the playoffs to get to at least the NFC Championship game, and they did nothing. A young Packers team of Jordan Love came in and destroyed them. And what I was seeing is Jimmy Johnson, after he won the Ring of Honor, and then they had halftime when they would get blown out by the Packers, I think 27-7 at halftime in that playoff game. They cut to him on Fox of what he would tell the Cowboys in the locker room, and he was like Dan Campbell. He made me want to be like Kool-Aid Man and run through the brick wall. He was so fiery as an 80-year-old man, screaming and shouting what he would tell his Cowboy players right now if they were down by 20 points in a playoff game, a do-or-die playoff game. And it made me want to play for Jimmy Johnson right now. And he hasn't coached in over 20 years. And it made me think again, if only Jerry Jones, the owner who thinks he's a genius and makes himself the only owner who's the general manager of his football team, if he would have stayed out of the way. Jimmy Johnson, to this day as an elderly man, is such a fiery, passionate leader. He could have helped lead that Cowboys team with all that talent to so many championships and so many victories. And instead, they're left with a very, I think, a good coach, but I think Mike McCarthy does not motivate his players, and they don't really they don't care to play hard for him. I think they play well because they're talented. He's a good X's and O coach, but he doesn't have that it factor where you're going to want to just destroy anyone in his path to win for that coach. They don't care to win for their coach. I think that some coaches, you'll do anything to make them to keep their job, just like the Raiders just did with Antonio Pierce. The Raiders, basically, Max Crosby, the starting defense player, said, I'm leaving. I've demanded a trade if you don't bring Antonio Pierce back. They got their coach back, and I hope the Raiders and Antonio Pierce have lots of success. I was so thrilled that he got to keep that head coaching job, take the interim coach and tag off. They don't have that passion in Dallas for Mike McCarthy. So I still think we're going to head towards a divorce. I think they got one more year. If they start off struggling next year, he might not even make it to the end of the season. Mike McCarthy, I still think his days are numbered in Dallas. But I'm surprised it's not over yet. But I think this is just Jerry Jones saying, we have to pay the man anyway. Let's pay him for the last season, and then we're going to let him walk. Unless they make the Super Bowl next year, I think Mike McCarthy is gone next year, at the end of next season.
Yeah. And I do. I mean, I agree with you. I think it's something that's going to come to pass. We look at this. I want to get into a couple things before we finish up here on Wake Up Call.
Minutes before I have to head out and get LJ.
So we got 2 minutes. So we're going to do a 2-minute warning. Here we go. With Ross Turetsky, here's a 2-minute warning. You got 2 minutes to tell me your thoughts on the Jets, the Bills, and if Mike Tomlin is the head coach after this season.
The Jets, I'll give them a ball. I'm very frustrated with them. We had Aaron Rodgers for 4 plays, 75 seconds. I still think they would struggle even with Rodgers being healthy. They finished 7-10, which was nice. Nice finish at the stretch, even give Bill Belichick a loss, break their 8 consecutive years losing to the Patriots. But the Jets, it's all on this year. If Aaron Rodgers at 40 years old needs to stay healthy, needs to be productive. If they don't win this year, make the playoffs with a healthy Rodgers, Robert Saleh has to go as head coach. Joe Douglas has to go as the owner, and Aaron Rodgers needs to go as well. They need to win this year. They need to at least go to the playoffs this upcoming season, or it's a failure. The Bills, they keep finding ways to lose, but I still think Sean McDermott, he deserves to be the head coach for the Bills for years to come. I still think he's a great leader of men, a great defensive coach. The offense started to improve later in the year. Josh Allen stopped turning the ball over as much. I still think Josh Allen and McDermott will win a Super Bowl before it's all said and done. They just need to get it done. They fall short in the playoffs year after year. It's disappointing and struggling. I still don't know what he was doing with the 4th and 5 punt with DeMar Hamlin. That still blows my mind. With the Steelers, I think Tomlin is going to still be the coach for a while longer, but I can still see burnt out really soon. Kind of like Bill Cowher, who got the head coaching job at such a young age, did so well. He's never had a losing record for now 17 straight seasons, but they're struggling in the playoffs. They barely get to the playoffs. This year they were without T.J. Watt in the playoffs with the knee injury, and they get knocked out in the first round. So I can still see Tomlin be the coach for another year or two, but I think that in the near future he'll probably be burnt out because he got in so young. He'll want to change and at least be like a Sean Payton and take a year off from coaching and then go back and coach someone else. As much as it would be hard to see him be coaching anywhere else but Pittsburgh, I can see that happen. With Bill Cowher, he took a year off and then decided never to come back. He decided to stay with CBS and be a broadcaster. But I could see Tomlin coaching someone else in the near future. The Steelers don't fire coaches, especially head coaches. They had Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher for years, and now Mike Tomlin for years. And Tomlin wins, but they don't really win in the playoffs since they won those Super Bowls with They won the 1 Super Bowl, made a Super Bowl, and lost to the Packers and Aaron Rodgers years ago, and that was with Bill Cowher's players. So with Tomlin's players, they win, but they can only sneak in the playoffs, and they don't get it done in the playoffs. So I know Steelers fans are frustrated, even though they at least make the playoffs, unlike my Jets. But I can see him burnt out and not feeling appreciated in Pittsburgh and feeling the love. I can see him taking a year off and leaving, going somewhere else at the end of next season.
Yeah, we shall see. Good points here. 2-minute warning. Go get my nephew there, Mr. LJ Manich. So
Super is this afternoon. Which superhero movie should we watch with LJ after school in a few minutes?
Oh my goodness, you should watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and he should look for his uncle.
All right, we're gonna zoom in frame by frame and pause it, and we can't wait to see you there, man. So,
13 minutes in, after that NYPD car crash, when Paul Giamatti crashes the 18-wheeler, I'm coming out of the alleyway with 5 other guys.
All right, we'll be watching, and so that will be Amazing Spider-Man 2. I hope Andrew Garfield makes more appearances in Marvel movies. Same thing with Tobey Maguire. I love the 3 Spider-Men together. Spoiler alert, No Way Home. We will be watching that after we get out of school. He loves the superhero movies.
All right, buddy. Well, I love you, love the family. Give my best to LJ, Lorelai, and, of course, Miss Abby, and I'll talk with you soon.
Thanks for having me on, buddy, and Jamie!
See you later, buddy. Take care. Be good. See you. And coming from Rob Turetsky one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to take our final step aside and wrap up the show right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognize that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family friendly. Some family friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, located for you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is the place that you need to go to for all your sports card needs. If you've ever collected before, it is the perfect place to go. If you've never been to a sports card shop before and you're just starting to collect, this is a great first impression. GG Cards and Breaks is the difference. They're open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 to 5 with a fantastic staff, incredibly knowledgeable about the sports card world, and they're big kids. They love it too. They love the hobby. They love to collect. They love to open packs and boxes. That's the beauty of going to GG Cards and Breaks. It's not a sports card shop of someone that's selling sports cards. It's somebody that believes in it, believes in the connections, knows the memories that you can make around one single pack of sports cards and how that memory can resonate and have ripple effects through the rest of your life. GG Cards and Breaks is such a special and wonderful place for all of us sports card collectors, young and old, and you can find them on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave. You can also find us at Trade Night on the road at the Wildcat Sports Pub this Thursday, January 25th, from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m., and we look forward to seeing you there. With that being said, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, thanks for tuning in today. Boy, did we have a good time. We had a lot of fun today. Always have a lot of fun. These conversations went so quick. Can't even believe that not only is the show done, but it's 11:30. YouTube.com and Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT for each, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. Monday through Friday, you'll find Wake Up Call on all of these channels worldwide from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Once the shows go live, they pop into the archives. We got a couple in there already from yesterday. Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube. All you got to do is search Wake Up Call. On any one of these, search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. A big time thanks to our incredible partners in Central and Upstate New York. I implore you to go and visit each of them. Today is Wednesday, which means you got a BOGO. You can go and get the DT Dolphin Sunday, buy one, get one free today and every Wednesday. So head out there, support LeMoyne, and support your taste buds by going and getting the DT Dolphin at Carvel DeWitt exclusively, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. The Wildcat Sports Pub, where we will be with GG Cards and Breaks this Thursday, January 25th, for pizza, wings, and sports card buying, selling, and trading. This January 25th on Thursday from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at the Wildcat in Camillus on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Head out there today. We are trying to decide what the next flavor is going to be at Ma and Pa's. There's three choices: bourbon kettle, raspberry chipotle, and blue cheese. I tried them all. I'll be sharing the videos today. And all you have to do is go into Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Go in there today, say you want a taste test, you want to try the new flavors, and you'll have the opportunity to try each of those three flavors. Then you get to vote. Your votes are going to count and decide what the next flavor is going to be at Ma and Pa's. So you have a direct opportunity to decide which of these new flavors is going to call Ma and Pa's home, but you have to go to Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York in order to taste test and to make your vote count. And while you're there, make sure you pick up something awesome because they have great snacks. I call it the snack capital, and I just went and got my Chicago, which is caramel, popcorn, as well as orange cheddar mixed together in the same bag. perfect for watching games, movies, TV shows, and when you're traveling. So a lot of great stuff at Ma and Pa's. I already have my favorites. Go and get yours today. PB&J's Lunchbox, Avicoli's, Great Lakes Honda City, Pizza Man, Mother's Cupboard, where I have my own sandwich, the Q-Smack Mother. Go and get the Q-Smack Mother today and every day of the week. They're open 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. daily, and the Q-Smack Mother is a little bit of everything. It is bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and eat it with syrup. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. Some of you get sausage instead of bacon, so you could do that as well. And if you're going vegan, or vegetarian, I should say, if you're going vegetarian, you can do egg and cheese inside of French toast. But make sure, however you do it at Mother's Cupboard on 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York. Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, and we are proud to be the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your LeMoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins way up every single month on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as we are proud to be the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your LeMoyne College Dolphins. Find the Dolphins on Wednesdays, like today, during Dolphin time, which is Wednesday at 9 a.m. weekly. You will find the Dolphins here with us, first and third Wednesday, AD and DT, featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. The second and fourth Wednesday, you'll find the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. All of this content can be found in our YouTube channel on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe. Hit the notification bell, find the LeMoyne Dolphins playlist. You can also find our Dolphin content by going to the exclusive partners tab on wakeupcalldt.com, clicking on LeMoyne. And for more information on your Dolphins, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. Nobody covers the Dolphins like we do here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We are proud to be exclusive multimedia marketing partners with your Dolphins. And as always, fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive media marketing. Pardon me, let me do this again. They are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. That's when you have Hispanic and Italian blood and your voice speaks faster than your brain, or your brain goes faster than your voice. Sometimes that happens, right? Exclusive multimedia marketing partners with the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse. We got some great news coming up with the Bobcats. I cannot wait to let you know that news. I can't let you know right now. I can let you know next week. I'm very excited about it. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse, the Bobcat Buzz, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, coming to you every single month with student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the years. Big time shout out to everyone at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, and many thanks to all of the wonderful people, the coaches, administration, Mary Hawkins. We had an awesome show together recently here with her and the coaches. A big time shout out to Sean Peak, as well as Clay Gagan, Sherman, Tay Baker, Alex Grigorita, and many thanks to Nick Dmitrievsky, the head coach of the men's soccer team, a multi-time national champion, and someone that I have so much respect for. He's also the athletics director there. And Connor Carroll, who's been hired as the esports head coach, big time shout out to him as well. So a lot of wonderful things happening at Bryan and Stratton Syracuse, and we get to bring you the Bobcat Buzz every single month. You'll not find coverage of the Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse like this anywhere else. It is my honor and my absolute privilege to speak with them, and I always look forward to doing that. You can find them by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as, and make sure you click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find the BSC Syracuse playlist. You can also find the Bobcats by going to our wakeupcalldt.com website, and when you go to that website, you can find the Bobcats on the website underneath exclusive partners. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com, and as always, go Bobcats, go. And so with that being stated here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank my incredible guest today. Big time shout out inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin' to my guy Jeff Lonczak, the head coach of the LeMoyne Dolphins men's and women's tennis teams. The men's tennis team will have 2 matches going on. They'll be at Binghamton and at Colgate over the weekend on Saturday, January 27th. and Sunday, January 28th, respectively. And next week, the men and women's tennis teams will travel to, they'll be at Cornell. They'll be at Binghamton and Cornell for the men this weekend. Cornell is Sunday, January 28th. Next week, on Friday, February 2nd, the men's and women's tennis teams will be on the road in Hamilton, New York at Colgate, both facing off against Colgate in back-to-back opportunities there on Friday, February 2nd, as the women get back to their season as well. Very excited for that. Big time thanks to Jeff Lonczak, as always, the head coach of both programs, men's and women's tennis at LeMoyne for the Dolphins. And a big-time shout-out to one of my best friends, somebody I consider a brother to me, a wonderful, wonderful human being, an absolute catalyst of so many great things, somebody who's an integral, when I say catalyst, he's an integral part of so many wonderful, positive, and good things in my life. I love him to pieces, and he's a fantastic broadcaster and writer. So it is always my honor to have Ross on the show, and a big-time thanks to him for everything we got to talk about, including a 2-minute warning where he hit a bunch of topics toward the end of the show, and we had some laughs and had some fun. So thank you all for tuning into this broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate you for being here, and we thank you so much. And are you kidding me? I'm literally finishing the show. All right. I hope you have a great day. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. God bless. No stress.